Happy Monday, everybody. Collider Live. It's back on the air. I don't know how they keep putting us back on the air, but we're back. And it is a full show today, a fun show today. And joining me to bring in the new week, starting with funning it up, Roxy Stryer. Roxy, your hair, lighter?
No.
Same. See what I'm saying?
I feel like and I was thinking the exact same thing.
Looks lighter.
I think it's the toss over and a little more of the zhuzh down in the blonde part that accentuates the volume.
I actually bought a sea salt spray.
I don't know what that is, but it looks good.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm legit being serious. What? You don't believe me?
I never know.
Why?
Just because your face.
Oh, thanks. So they tell me.
That's on your gravestone. Just because your face.
It's just hard to tell with you because your dimples start to poke out a little. No, you get. Yeah, you do. Because when you're kind of lying about something,
more jowls.
You get these like little dimple for a second.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Am I telling?
Oh, I see, like a little dip right here.
Yeah, the little dip comes through.
But it's when you do your De Niro, like you do. Like
but I was being legit. I was being serious. I think it looks good.
Thank you.
Now, Reilly, on the other hand.
Yikes.
How you doing, Reilly?
Hi, honey. Yeah, I'm good.
Good weekend.
I'm good. I couldn't process. No, I'm fine.
Shits?
No, yeah, I have the shits. I'm here. No, it's the puppet keeps me on my toes.
I think you said the puppet.
The puppy.
That would be interesting. The puppet.
Yeah,
It's
puppy
a strange
wakes me
puppet
up.
that wakes you up in the middle of the night.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah. Well, that's what she sounds like as a gremlin that she is now. Every morning at about 5:30.
Are you still sending that fucking tweet?
Well, I was trying to
a long
find.
tweet.
I didn't. Here's what
What are
the
you
long
doing?
part. You want to know what the long part is?
Not really.
Oh.
What is it?
The long part is that I'm trying to hashtag or tag extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, and I can't figure out how to fit it
I
in my
just always tweet.
Abbreviate.
We are live. Give
Yeah.
the link and put a GIF. And I know that's
And
probably
whose
wrong.
tweet gets more likes?
Probably
whose tweet
yours.
gets more likes? Roxy's. And whose
Well, because you
tweet
add a
gets
selfie
more
and
likes?
mostly men follow us, so they're gonna click a like.
That's
on
true.
a
You know, I
selfie.
found out that yesterday I was looking at my insights
Yeah.
because I'm a business
Yeah.
and I have 87% male followers, which I was pretty bummed about.
What do you think? I mean, are you shocked
You're
by that?
surprised.
Aren't you the one that always screams like vagina, vagina? Well, you're hoping that we get
I
a
wasn't,
female
I
caller?
wasn't shocked,
Yeah.
but you know, I tweet about a lot of feminist issues.
Did you not go to Chicago?
I
think there were
went.
like 8 women that came up to me.
That's why. And I started chanting vagina, and you told me no more vagina chants, no more.
I didn't say that.
You
I
said I don't like when you start screaming.
I
vagina.
just said I don't like it. I'm allowed to say the same thing that I'm not gonna get back in that other conversation. But the things I told you, and I continue to say, I would never tell you not to say something. I would just tell you whether I like it or not.
But we
so when
did prove
Do you
one-
like cheese? Do you like when we talk about cheese?
If you guys do chant cheese.
No, we
cheese,
don't.
cheese.
That's the first time we've ever chanted
Cheese on thin ice. I feel like
See, I would,
good.
if it was cheese on Van Nuys, I would be there a lot more.
all
often.
the time.
I would never go.
I would go all the
I
time.
would never once
I
go.
live there.
You would have.
I'm gonna go back to my tweet now.
You would have been psyched.
Yeah?
Yesterday, I did.
Cheese.
I did the grilling.
Sure.
And we got this really sharp aged cheddar cheese.
Ooh, nice.
And I grilled the burgers up. I was really doing a good job with it. Just sliced the cheddar just perfectly. Put them on the burgers.
Yeah.
Melted right inside of it. Cooked them with onions inside of it. A little garlic.
Okay.
A little oregano. Put it very slight teriyaki. Just
Okay.
a little slight.
I
just
like
to
the
juice
touch
it
of
up.
teriyaki.
It was really, really good.
Interesting.
Delicious.
Heard my
Sounds
invite.
much better than what I had.
What'd you
much
have?
better.
What'd
Just
you-
ham.
Easter? Oh. Hamming it up like Anthony
You just,
Daniels.
ham.
you just ate ham?
No,
That's
ham and
it's Easter hams, I think.
asparagus. It's
Yeah.
a staple with my mother, and she put it out. And
You wouldn't know
we
because
ate
you're
it.
the Jewish.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
It's
the
just
Jews
a
don't do the ham,
No,
but
they
it's
don't.
like the cartoons, right? With the it's not
Yes.
slices of ham from the grocery store. It's one of those
Correct.
big
No, it's like a
Yeah,
big
it's
old,
like-
bone-looking
it's a big
things.
old
It's
ass
what do they
ham.
call
I've
it?
seen that in the
glazed,
cartoons.
the glazed
Honey
ham,
baked.
honey baked.
Honey baked ham.
Right,
It's
like the ones
good.
Bugs Bunny would always
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
in.
yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah.
picturing.
I worked at a honey baked ham as my first job.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
I was
That's
like,
the name of a
good.
store?
Yeah, honey baked ham. The honey baked ham company.
HBH. Heartbreak
There
Hotel.
used to be one right on La Brea and Melrose.
Yep.
And so for Christmas and Easter, me and my idiots like buddies in high school, they would need extra staff because you
Josh
drove
and the
through-
Idiots.
That was our band.
Oh, nice.
It's like Roxy.
What was yours? Reilly and the Shits? Is that what it was? called?
No, it was Mad Tea Party.
No,
No, yeah, that's exactly what.
It was the other day. We called it Reilly and the Shits.
Yeah, because
Oh,
he
Reilly
always
and the
says you have the
shits.
shits.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I have the flu today. Oh, Reilly has the shits. I have a cold today.
Opening up for
Riley has the
listen.
shits.
opening up for chips and the dip.
Chips and the dips and Riley and the shits.
Chips
Yeah.
and the dips and Reilly and the shits.
So funny because I said I wasn't
Can I
going to bring
tell?
it up, but I will bring it up.
It's so good you have to.
I have to.
She won't be upset.
Nah, she won't. Because she won't listen to it. I was talking to my wife over the weekend, and we were telling the conversation. We had I think I was playing a little bit of the show because I showed her the thing I did about my mother-in-law, obviously, and about the desserts.
That's not enough time.
That's not enough time. I need a full month. And I showed my father-in-law too. He was laughing. But then we started. I don't know how we started getting into it, but I showed her Roxy's rant on Alex on the chips scenario, right? And so I asked Josh, and
The most controversial innocent nickname in the history of this show.
and that's what my wife said. She's like, "Why is he getting upset over that name?" And I was like, "Well, because he plays in a band." She goes, "Oh, come on!" And she sent a voice message to Roxy, and Roxy was so on board with it. And then it coupled with Vivian going, "Roxy, why'd you slap Ben in the face?"
And I very clearly explained to her.
She said, "You'll understand when you're older." Listen, that's one of the things too. Everyone has been tweeting at me and wondering if you're a movie trivia Schmoedown fan. There's spoilers now that are over. If you haven't had a chance to watch the match between The Odd Couple and Who's the Boss that aired on Thursday of last week, you will get spoiled for that. So either tune out or deal with it because Roxy Stryer is here, as is Mark Reilly, and they've both been asking me as far as what's going to happen with Roxy Stryer. Tom Dagnino was on Schmoedown Rundown. Tom Dagnino demanded that certain actions be taken against Roxy Stryer.
Shocked.
Yeah. So
Surprised.
There will
Doesn't
be
seem like him at all.
And I am going to make an announcement as far as what that is and what will happen in regards to Roxy. But I will do it at 11:30 because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We have Joe Berlinger coming in today too. Riley, you are so excited because you watched. He did all the Ted Bundy tapes.
He did the
right?
Ted Bundy, Conversation with the Killer, Ted Bundy tapes.
And now he's doing the movie with Zac Efron.
Yep, and now he's doing the movie. Yeah, it's pretty exciting for me at least. I'm a true crime guy, you know that. And this, I don't know how he could stay around with Ted Bundy for all that stuff, with all the
messing up his brain
docuseries
and stuff, right?
And then go directly into a narrative feature and like, how do you craft?
It's spending a lot of time. That's spending a lot of time with Ted Bundy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you cast Zac Efron,
Right.
who's like, look at that guy.
Baywatch.
That's pretty funny that he's in here.
Yeah. He's
That's really
going to
funny.
be staring
We
at Joe.
should take the wig off for his interview.
Yeah, we
'cause
should.
You can't really tell it's Zac Efron with the wig on.
Well, it's only
think he'll
because of
get
the
it.
placement of the wig,
Yeah.
which is
Kinda
not
like
on
your
his.
hair.
We'll move it out of his face a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
But you
I knew
watched.
you didn't like
you
it.
watched the movie as well. So
I did. I cannot wait to talk to him because I was saying this beforehand to Riley. Regardless of how people are going to feel about it, because people are going to have strong opinions,
Yeah, they are.
he made a really powerful choice.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people play it pretty safe in 2019. They want their movie to
He did
do
not.
well. I think that he did not play
Okay.
it safe. And for me, it really, really worked.
Okay, cool. So he's going to be
great.
in at 10:30 actually, and we'll shoot the shit with him. But then obviously at 11 o'clock. We are going to talk Game of Thrones. So another thing for you guys to be aware of. Thank you so much, Cody.
I love the new intro so much.
The new
So
intro
good.
is dope.
It's so great.
I stop and I go back and I stop and I
Yeah.
go back twice every time beforehand.
There's going to be, we're doing spoiler heavy at 11 o'clock. So if you didn't watch last night's episode, either watch the episode right now for the first hour or don't watch it until you've watched Game of Thrones. And I've given you more than enough warning. So, and if you pop in at 11 o'clock, oh, look, I'm spoiling it. That's on you, bro.
Today's show is dope.
It's good.
We have so much stuff
A lot
going
going
on.
on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to Joe, and I want to hear from you what's going on, which
Are you
you're making
nervous?
me wait. I'm not nervous. Well, I'll wait.
You'll wait.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not nervous.
Are you nervous? Because you got a big match that's going up today with
Oh,
you and
good for
Elliot
today.
versus Deanne and Roca.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, correct. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think anybody in this world that is part of the Schmoedown, like the 0.01% of people think that we have a shot.
But if you do,
But if we do.
But if you do.
Listen.
given
the
Sunday,
thing
right?
is,
it's going to really kick those guys in the balls if they go to Houston.
Elliot and I are entertainers first,
Yeah.
right? We are entertainers first.
And what second?
We
Trivia
actually
players.
know trivia pretty decent.
Yeah, you
like
guys-
we're not bad. We're not like some of the no offense, like when Ben Begley and I played that first round. I mean, nice guy, terrible at movie trivia.
Right.
Some of those early team matches and stuff, like
Brutal.
you picked your winners and you pick your losers and you felt bad for people, but there's clearly people out there that retain knowledge and love movies, and there's people that love movies but don't retain knowledge.
Right.
And I think Elliot and I do a little bit of both. My weak spots seem to always become glaringly obvious in the third round.
Yeah, well,
every single time.
Roca's also on a downside right now, just coming off that triple threat match. He lost, so it's good to kind of strike when. Sometimes he's dangerous though after a loss, so we'll see. And obviously the current champion.
Yeah.
I think that Roca has gone from being one of the most consistent to one of the more inconsistent players in the league, which is kind of wild because I think he's one of the best of all time.
Right.
So it's interesting to have, if you asked me a couple of years ago, he was just sitting, or maybe a year ago, he was sitting on top for so long. And now at this point, you don't know what you're going to get from him because he has so many irons in the fire. He's so busy. He can't actually dedicate the amount of time he previously was to just studying.
And he's never taken a break.
Yeah, that's true.
He's one of the guys
he's wiped from it.
Never taken a break.
Not to speak for him, but that's my guess.
All right, well, we got a lot to definitely break down in a little bit. Like we said, full stacked show here today. And last thing to mention is get those Texas. What are you doing, Houston? Get on out there, man. In a wrestling ring, Guy versus Bateman. The Schmoedownlive.com. Booker T will be there. There's a meet and greet available with Booker T as well. If you guys want to check that out,
no way.
Check out the Schmoedownlive.com. Excited to be in the Booker T arena. All right, Reilly, because we're just going to do things a little bit differently, is there anything happening in news at all? Was it kind of slow and dead?
It's been very slow and dead. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there, obviously, with Game of Thrones and like all the theories. Go to Collider.com. They have great, like, breaking down the episodes, all the theories that need to be kind of resolved beforehand. But everything else has been kind of slow.
Well, I think they're also preparing because we're going. Who's going tonight? Anybody else going
tomorrow?
Tonight? You're going tomorrow because tonight is.
You get the premiere invites. I don't get those.
Well,
I'm not as cool
me neither.
as you.
Are checking out
Disney's
Endgame.
not paying me as much.
That's true.
So, yeah,
that's true.
That's why
I'm shilling it up, Rox. And that was my favorite when we do that joke. Is like,
oh, they like the joke of that. They like to joke around. they shills, but we know they're really shills. They really are. I mean, it. The fact that they're hiding out in plain sight is what they're doing. They're just hiding out.
Going full Santa there. I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness! Oh, good. There he is. He's a shill. Oh my goodness! He's doing the dance.
It's
with
the push again.
So you're going tonight with Ellis.
yeah, Ellis is going. Harry will be there. Fucking shills. Harloff and the Shills. It'll be.
That's a pretty good band.
I mean, my
Harloff
God.
and the Shills opening up for Riley and the Shits.
That's a good double bill. I
That's
like
true.
that.
Do you know what I realized about you, by the way?
Oh, what's that?
That this morning I woke up and I'm looking and I go, just a little bit. They were just a little bit longer than I like.
Yeah,
right? And I said I can never, even if they're just little. I'm like, now because we've given him so much crap on it.
You got to do it.
I'm thinking about going.
Same now.
You just know right away.
Yeah, it's time to go. It's time to cut.
Because you don't want to get it on the air anymore.
I don't. No.
It's not a big fucking deal.
Exactly my point.
It's the truth.
Your hands are whiter than usual, though, right now.
It's just blending into his shirt.
Yeah, it's more of a color combo.
I was at the beach. I know. I didn't really get a lot
You're
of.
supposed to get tan at the beach. How
I
do you get
know.
white at the beach?
I don't know.
Now your face has some color. Maybe that's why your hands look.
Well, I was also.
That's not how sun
I
works.
had.
That's not how the sun works.
By comparison.
Maybe it's because I am wearing a white shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a reflection
So
of the
you're
shirt.
going tomorrow, or no?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
What time are you going?
I think
8 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm going tomorrow with you.
I think so. Yeah, I just got to
think
double
so.
check it
When
right
are
at
you
that
going?
+1. I'm gonna, if I like it tonight, I'm probably going to go see it tomorrow at 1.
I'm at 1.
Okay.
Do you want to go together?
Yeah, I'm probably going to take this animal too. So if
Well,
we
I
have
don't
a
need you
+1,
to
right?
take me. I have a +1.
You just said you want to go together.
Yeah, I would like to.
Sit together.
Yeah. We could even drive there together.
God,
You just
that's.
say-
She
you
needs.
just-
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to
probably.
go. I don't want.
She probably needs some help.
It sounded
with
like
the
I needed
parking
your
directions.
invite. You were
No,
like,
I
well,
don't
I'm
need-
taking
oh,
him.
no. I assume you had an invite already. Otherwise, you wouldn't say that you were
I
going.
haven't invited anybody yet, though.
Oh, but you do have a +1.
I do have a +1.
Okay, let me double.
Oh, good. for
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Why don't we do this then? I'm going to check and make sure that I have a +1
And
tomorrow.
if not, I'll take Makuga.
So you're going
thank you.
regardless.
Yeah.
All right, cool. There you go.
Good for you.
But and you know what? And if I
That's my
don't
dance.
and if I don't like the movie
Yeah.
tonight, then you can just go with Roxy.
Okay.
That works.
I imagine you.
I would put it at 0 shot that you don't at least
Yeah.
like it enough that
To
you
go
want
again?
to see it again. I mean,
The day after,
literally
though.
0
But the
shot.
day after, it just depends.
Yes.
If it's a long fucking movie, it's 3 hours long.
Will
Yeah,
it be
give it to me.
nominated for an Emmy?
An Emmy?
No.
That one I'll say no.
No.
Yeah.
We got him.
You got
We
it.
got
It's like saying, like, will they be in Hawaii in the first shot of the film? I'm going to say probably not. I don't know yet, but it's probably.
Would you guarantee not?
No, I wouldn't guarantee not.
It's actually, that could happen. Have you guys been avoiding the spoilers? Because
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have
yeah.
been like the plague.
Some idiot, some
You got it?
jerk
You got hit?
sent me a direct message on Instagram.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, what is wrong
happened
with you
last
people?
week.
Did you read it or did you?
No,
Okay.
declined immediately. Declined.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It was like Avengers Endgame spoilers in a video. I didn't even look. I just hit decline right away.
Why are they doing
Who are
this?
you people? Who are
Why
you?
are they
What
doing
is wrong
this?
with
Because
you?
they're horrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
It's just the truth.
forgot.
Just
They're
a
horrible
bad
people out
garbage
there.
people.
Yeah.
These are the people that hope
really-
that I get AIDS and then also hang myself. I forgot. Those are the people sending
Same people.
spoilers.
Right.
I'd like to really be psyched the fact that my wife has really picked up on the garbage people thing.
Oh.
And so
good.
now we point out garbage people.
Just in
from
general.
places. It's
Like
great.
walking down the street,
Yeah.
garbage person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
it just depends
these
on-
garbage people.
Right.
Right. It's great. It's just really become a nice bonding thing for me and my wife. It's fantastic.
Good. Good for
Yeah.
you. The misery of others has now become your
Correct.
pleasure.
Well, I think the important thing in marriage and in coupledom is love the same things, but really more
But make
importantly,
fun of the same
hate
people.
the same things.
Right.
That's more
Yeah.
important.
Did I
Yeah.
see that you guys were rollerblading?
I mean, you
Oh,
can
we
call
hit
it
the blades. We hit the blades yesterday.
She couldn't even get
seemed
down
to
the
be
stairs.
struggling
It's
with the
hysterical.
stairs. Yeah.
Well, so was I. The funny part was she was yelling because I tweeted it and it has like 16,000 views, which is hysterical. And she was like, "Oh, I wish I had filmed you because you were struggling down the stairs." I was like, "Exactly."
Well, the best part was when she said, "Don't be a douche" or something. She says,
Don't
and this
be a
guy,
dick.
and this guy looks back like, "Huh?" He goes, "Not me. That's my wife. She's talking to me."
Did you think about helping her at any point?
No.
No, it's for the comedy. She was fine. What am I gonna do? I'm also on rollerblades. It's stairs. It's wheeled shoes.
You needed to add in the Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly.
As she was getting
we
down
took
with it.
so we took. She only had one like almost spill, which was pretty funny. So we got him in Hermosa, and then we went like all the way to the end of Manhattan and came back, right? And so we're
New
going,
York, Manhattan, by the way.
Yeah, all the way. It's 32nd in Madison,
Right.
I think. So we're going past the pier in Manhattan Beach, and there's this little up thing, and Amanda wasn't going fast enough to like hit it, and her skate kind of went out, and there was this woman, and Amanda was like, "Ah!" And her like legs went out, and I picked her up and I grabbed her, and this woman looked at me, and I think she got really scared, and she was like, and then she just walked onto the pier. Like, she didn't have words, and she just kept walking.
She didn't want to be scared.
Yeah, she
it's
didn't. And Amanda was
she
like,
didn't
what was her
react.
problem? I was like, I don't know. I
She
think
got scared, felt like an asshole,
Yeah,
she walked
totally,
away. That's
totally.
that happens.
Yeah.
I think that it's great that you're poking a little bit of fun at her, but
Yeah. Oh, believe you me, I wasn't any good on the skates either.
no, well, I was just thinking about this it's no surprise to anybody that Finstock and I kind of beef sometimes. And so I actually really like his girlfriend a lot.
Right.
And so I pulled her aside the last time I saw her. You know those
Asked why.
You know the girlfriends / boyfriends that make their significant other's life a living hell
Yes.
so that they can tape it?
Yeah.
Like what we saw with the cheese throwing and all of that.
Oh, right.
So
Baby cheese.
I've been pitching her ways
to
to
make it
start
a channel,
because
yeah.
how funny would that be if she just starts making his life actual hell to tape it?
Yeah, but with him, he's never going to show up.
No,
and he doesn't really show
no,
emotion.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. So I want her to start throwing cheese at him and taping him doing things and all of that because
I don't think he'll care.
Here's
it'll
him.
be so
Here's
good.
him.
I don't think you will.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's good cheese.
Yeah.
Put it on the
Yeah.
box.
Oh
The
my
amount
God,
of- the
no,
amount
it will
of-
be so
He
good.
wouldn't get
The
upset.
amount of F's given by Finstock in this series
Just
that you're
doesn't care.
promoting is
Yeah,
zero.
He's just not going to care.
He doesn't care.
You need
He
emotion.
won't care.
Because the whole point is
He
people
won't
get
even buy
angry at
into
each other.
it.
He doesn't get angry.
He doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Not really.
It's not going to. Yeah, I'm sorry, Roxy.
When
It's a
angry-
funny idea,
when-
but it's not going to
When
work.
have you seen him get angry?
All the time.
When?
He gets really passionate and he'll get mad about
there's
it.
There's a difference. Like
You're a buffoon.
that's angry, and that's not even really angry.
That was the fake trial of JT.
Right. No.
You're a buffoon.
That was at the Spectacular,
Spectacular.
when he yelled at me and called me a buffoon.
I don't know. You guys are underrating how animated he is.
There's a difference between animated and angry. Like
Yeah, but
Riley,
you're saying
Riley
he
gets
just doesn't show
angry.
emotion.
I get angry.
Riley gets angry.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's
The
so
more fun
what
thing
happened
would
was
be Julie
Julie
versus
was
Riley.
sitting.
Big deal.
When I
That's
was pitching
angry.
this to Erica, Julie was sitting right there, and Julie was like, "It would be so much better if I started doing this to Riley."
Correct.
That to me,
That's a YouTube
Riley
series.
doing that because Riley's gonna snap.
But I said, no, that's sad. Because you don't actually want to pick on somebody who has a good soul.
Yeah, but why do you
Somewhere in there, I know you do.
shots fired?
Wow.
Well, thank you.
Holy cow,
Thanks,
darts
Rox.
over there taking shots again.
That was-
I'll take it.
That was a nice thing to say.
Sure. We'll see if that transfers over to 11:30.
Are we going to greenlight this idea, Christian? I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that's a no for me, dog.
I mean, listen, I would.
Nobody liked Randy in the middle position anyway.
There's
I
never
did.
there's never a you're not going to get from me saying no to seeing more Finstock on
Sure,
camera.
sure.
But I just don't know it's going to get the reaction you think.
Yeah.
It's going to. She
Why don't I try it?
now she might be the one who gets like
Totally.
angry and pissed off.
Tom messing with her.
Yeah.
But I don't want that
Yeah.
for her.
That's what I'm
Correct.
saying.
Nobody
That's what
wants
that
that for her.
ultimately is what will happen.
I mean, she already has to live with him and date him.
Right.
That's enough of a mess of a
Enough.
situation.
How
Yeah.
wild is that?
well,
We don't talk about it enough.
He's a wild animal.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Wow.
It's
We
basically you went to the zoo and you picked up a Finstock.
But if I would imagine in my head who he would be with, it would be a wild animal. And she's just
opposites
like a
attract.
great, cool, down to earth,
Very
hot
much so.
chick.
Yeah.
Guys like Finstock and I can't be with wild chicks.
No.
I've tried it. It
It
doesn't
won't work. Same with me.
Yeah, that's a universal problem. It's
Correct.
like it would implode.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, Sid and
The
Nancy.
universe would.
I
I
have a
wouldn't
scar
picture
on
you
my-
with a wild chick, though.
But I mean, I have scars on my forehead. I have like
Yeah.
legitimate
the girl that
stalking
keyed his
things.
car.
I've yeah, totally. I mean, it's been
Oh,
a
yeah,
situation.
I could see it now.
Yeah,
Passionate
slash
stuff.
tires.
Passionate
I've
stuff.
dated the wrong women for a long time.
My ex was like a feisty Italian. That did not work out well.
Feisty Puerto Rican girl.
Am I a wild chick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you're mellowing out
Sort of.
Yeah, but
as
you're
you get
not-
older.
but you're not- yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
You're to where you are right now in your life. It's like you're supposed to be doing what you're doing. It's like, but you still have. You're
Yeah.
very focused on your work and everything too, and you're pretty put together that way. So
Yeah.
I dated this. I
You
remember
work hard,
date-
you party hard.
Yeah, I was dating this girl. I remember one time, and this is when I was still younger. I was like 30, whatever the hell I was. And I remember she was like 22 or something, and she was just in cuckoo land, right? And I remember coming over, and she's like 2 or 3 in the morning with a rum and coke and everything too. She's like, "Let's get partying." I'm like, "I'm fucking exhausted."
Yeah,
And I
I'm
was
going to
30.
bed.
And now it's just like, you better bring over chocolate milk and
Yeah.
we'll go watch Game of Thrones. I mean,
Yeah.
that's about all we're doing.
100%.
Do you guys think I could end up with a wild dude, or I need a tame dude?
And it just depends. It depends on what you're looking for. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't think a
I don't
wild
think-
dude would really go that well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't work well?
Not really.
No.
And everybody thinks they want the bad person, but
I don't
that
think
was-
so.
a lot of people
That's
think
high school, early
Yeah.
college. You
Yeah.
you go with what your parents would be upset with, and then you realize your life is miserable.
Right.
So you need to go with something that actually balances it out, and you meet the right person. Like Amanda and I were talking about timelines yesterday, because I hate like the Flash, and they're always going these reverse
but what if-
timelines.
We know.
Yes, and so we started talking about like timelines. She's like, "Where do you think you'd be right now if we weren't like rollerblading on the boardwalk?" I was like, "Here's the hypothetical." I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know, in a gutter somewhere." You know what I mean?
Well, but
and
I can just argue with my wife all the time. Like Sliding Doors, that movie, Sliding
I
Doors, is
love
such a
that
great
the
movie.
most
Great
accurate
movie.
thing ever, because the whole point is if you do not do certain things like in your lifetime, certain other things just don't happen. It's like
Correct.
those butterfly effect, those little things. Like she's like, we would have found each other eventually. I'm like, but you don't know that. Like
Or
if,
not.
If I didn't, because the way we met it's like, well, we met one way, but then how we actually went out was. Did I ever tell this story? I don't know. I told this story in the air, but like it was. I used to go
Weren't
to.
you performing?
No, well, that's when we met the first time. But as far as how we went out, because the first couple times I had asked her out, and we were supposed to meet up. We never did. I told her to come to one of my shows. She's like, "I'm not a groupie. I'm not coming to one of your shows." And that's usually what was always my thing. Come to a show. We'll hang out afterwards. And that's when I knew. Oh, she's just not one. She's not like that.
Howie got girl.
But I was
yeah.
but I was in my friend who is no longer with us, but he used to fly us to Vegas all the time. Me and Winkleman, we used to
you
go
did.
to Vegas like it was every weekend. We would just be going to Vegas, and I was hammered one night, and I was at this club, and I was going through my phone. I saw this girl walking through. I was like, oh, that's that girl that I met, Sierra, or whatever her name is. I don't know, which is her name. Sierra was this girl.
I thought you were
and
talking about Sadie.
Sadie, yeah.
but so I text Sierra and I go, "Are you in Vegas?" Question mark. She doesn't text me back, so I'm like, forget it.
Wait,
So-
you met this girl how? It
I
doesn't
don't know
matter.
how I met Sierra, but anyway, I was like,
More than likely at an adult, anybody named
wherever
Sierra
it was,
usually.
and it was just this thing that I was
Sorry,
like, oh,
Sierra's
I was like, she's out there. I think I just saw her, and it was this crowded club, and I go, instead of like running around, I'm just gonna text her. So I text her, "You in Vegas?" Question mark. Nothing. Hammered out of my face. I just make my plane, and it's like Southwest, whatever. Yeah, it's like an hour flight.
Sure.
And I'm in straight
Lit.
up gone, and sunglasses on. You have to
The
do the
best.
Bloody Mary
Yeah.
to try to get yourself back.
Even it up.
Sitting on the plane, then I get a text. I'm like, what's that? No, I'm not in Vegas. I'm in L.A. Where are you? How are you? I didn't text Sierra. I texted Sadie. And
On accident.
on accident. And then I went, oh shit. well, that's right. That's so then I'm like, oh yeah.
So had you not saved the number in your phone and you had just thought that number?
That's my point. So like if I don't send
Mm-hmm.
that text that night, do I have 2 children right now?
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like because then
Did it kind of roll after that?
Yeah, because then I said, "Oh no, I meant to." Because I bullshitted my way into it. I said, "No, I absolutely meant." Because she said, "Did you mean to text someone else?" I was like, "No." So let's go out when I get back to LA. And then she's like, "All right, fine, let's go. Let's go out." And we went up going out. I didn't tell her that story for like a year. It was about a year later that I told her.
That's not a first date story.
No,
I think that's an after we get married story.
It was. It was
later on.
But you know what? I didn't want to let it go for too long because eventually I told her, and she was like, and then she's like, "Son of a bitch," right? Yeah. And then now she's like, 2 days ago, she's like, "You ever tell our romantic story on how you first asked me out?" And that's kind of how it all went down. Yeah. But my point is, had I not sent that text that night, had I not thought I saw Sierra, my life is very different.
Oh, yeah.
Now. It is very different because I don't know if I ever text her again. She's like, we would have found each other again. Fate is great. I mean, and maybe would have, but not in the same circumstances.
So I always tell a man, if we met in college or like even in my late 20s, early 30s, there's no way we'd be together. No possible way.
Right, because you're what you were looking for was much differently back then.
Yeah, and what the girls that were looking at me were obviously like, I don't know, especially a girl like Amanda. You know, she puts up with a lot from me, but like even back then, she'd be like,
no. Same thing with me. Like, if I met my wife at 25, there's no chance.
No way.
No chance.
No way.
But you don't agree with this. You think it's possible because people are people.
I knew Josh when he's talking about it. I didn't know you as much, but I think with Josh it would have worked because I think that he was waiting like he needed somebody to snap him out of it, and I think she could have done that years earlier as well.
But I don't know if he was ready to be snapped out at that point.
I don't know if you're ever ready to. I don't think when he met her, he was ready to be snapped out of it. He just was.
Yeah, but the thing is, but that's the thing, and I can tell it from experience. You have enough of a run because I went on. When I think it was right around 2014, the end of 2014, 2015. That's when I said, no more relationships. Just got out of that relationship. I said, I am now just going to do my thing, concentrate on stand-up.
2014, you already married.
Excuse me,
He must mean 2004.
2004, thank you.
2014, I am going for it.
2004, yes. That goes.
I got a kid, I got a wife, and it's time.
Sorry, kids, I just let it all out on the air. I got a mistress. All right, I guess we gotta go. But
you have to explain that.
I know
before we go.
Before we go. But anyway, 2004, just got out of that relationship and said to myself, you know what? I'm going after.
Don't stop.
And but I'm not talking about just women in general. I'm talking about the stand up, working at. That's when I started working for Silver, all that. And I said, I'm just gonna have fun. By the time from 2004 to 2007, by the end of 2007, I'm like, oh, all right, maybe I could settle if I find somebody to where, I want to, and I should. But you never know. But I think in the middle of, I knew him in the middle of that whirlwind. Yeah, he's not. It's hard. It's hard.
A maelstrom.
Yeah,
it's a maelstrom.
It is. Okay, listen. It's our first break, and when we get back, we are going to have director Joe Berlinger in studio. Very excited to talk to him, and you will enjoy it too because it's going to be a good interview. I guarantee it. Come back and listen. Bye.
Hey, Collider fans, John Roca here. Look that behind me. There it is, Collider Sports. That's right, that is happening. We've had some great programming on there already. For those of you that have already watched, thanks so much. We got so much coming down the pike. We're talking about NFL. We're going to talk about NBA. There's plans about NHL. Golf is in the equation now. And, of course, the Premier League show that I host with Jack Hind, that's been in motion for the last couple of weeks. And then an MMA show is on the way from Dennis Zhang, me, and Jay Williams. All those things are happening here at Collider. And look, we want to hear from you, so we want you to listen. We want you to watch. If you're a sports fan, even if you're not a sports fan, we might entertain you, teach you something new about a sport that you may not have known much about, or maybe so deep into it that you wanted to learn even more about it. We've got you covered. You can do that. Follow us on iTunes and on YouTube. You can there watch all the shows or listen to all the shows that you want, and then leave us comments and rate the shows as well and review them, and then let us know what other sports you want us to cover. Look, we're not touching rugby. I'll just tell you that right now. That's as far out as we'll go, or cricket. But maybe in the future, if we go Collider worldwide, that's certainly a possibility. But for right now, Collider Sports is there for you. Take a look at it, take a watch, and let us know what you think.
Oh, hi guys. It's Perry here, and I am going to tell you about The Witching Hour. It is the show that I host along with Collider.com's Haley Fouch. It is in podcast form on the Collider Factory feed, and we also have the video up and running every Tuesday for you right there on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel. We talk about everything horror. We're talking TV, movies, the newest releases. We talk about movies that are celebrating anniversaries. We've even talked about books. It's crazy. If it is scary, we are talking about it on The Witching Hour. We also have so many filmmaker interviews, really cool stuff. It's all coming your way every single Tuesday on The Witching Hour. Check it out. Collider Factory and the Collider Podcast YouTube channel.
Hello, Collider Live. My name is Amy Dallin.
And I'm Coy Jondro, and we host a little show we love called Collider Heroes. And it is all of the things we love about movies, TV, comics themselves, all the breaking news, trailers, photos, but not paparazzi photos.
All of the superhero stuff we love, all of the indie comic stuff we love, all the stuff you had no idea was based on comics.
80 years of comic lore have led to this show, and many years in film and TV, and we're living in a golden age of comics, and we want to share all of that zeal with you folks.
So we talk about the stuff that's coming out, we talk about what we hope is coming out, we do fantasy casting of things that should exist, why don't they exist?
And we do your Twitter questions asking directly to us what we think of certain things, and every single week, since we both actually love and read physical comics, buy and print, we have a comic pull list where our 5 biggest favorite books of the week come out, and we dive into those with you guys.
You can buy digital, I'll forgive you, as long as you're paying for your comics. It's all good.
But if you buy in print, you can bag them and board them, and then they're worth more later, because comics are like certain things from the 90s that are totally worth the value. Buy comics, buy in print. Digital's never worth anything later. Buy in print, keep comic stores alive.
Or we can debate collector's items all day long. We can debate casting, we can debate movie news. We can have all of our friends come join us, as we frequently do. We can ask professionals about their work. We've had some amazing guests come by the show.
Yep. We try
and
to
you can catch it every Wednesday.
That are on these properties that also love comics. You hear what it's like from their perspective, from inside, from outside, and this is all with the focus of bringing all this news to you guys. And we're here every Wednesday on Collider, and we love this stuff and want to share it with you guys.
We'll see you then.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about the Reilly Roundtable. That's right, they gave Reilly his own podcast. The Reilly Roundtable is on its new home. It drops every Thursday. The Reilly Roundtable is a little bit about everything. It's about movies and life and movies and everything in between. I like to have on special guests for discussions like Justice League versus Batman v Superman, for discussions about wine tasting, for discussions about UFOs, and everything in between. That's right, the Reilly Roundtable drops on Thursdays on the One-on-One with Christian Harloff podcast feed, and later on Collider Video's own podcast video network. So check it out every Thursday, the Reilly Roundtable. See you there.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, one of the hosts for Collider Sports Time. That's our new show there on the Collider Sports Network. It's our flagship show, just like Collider Movie Talk. We get on, talk about a bunch of sports issues of the day and what is burning up social media, what topics are burning up social media. That's what we do on Collider Sports Time. I'm joined by my top 10 co-host, Matt Nost. Me and him, we welcome a bevy of guests every week to talk about NFL, the Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL, and the NBA, which is starting up soon. We're going to talk about that. We also get into UFC stuff, college football, all the stuff that's happening in the world of sports. We're going to cover it on Collider Sports Time. And we're going to take the time to break it all down and give our opinions and our unique takes and unfiltered thoughts on what we think about the sports news of the day. So don't forget to join us every week on Monday for the Collider Sports Time show on the Collider Sports Network. And don't forget to subscribe on the Collider Sports Network on YouTube and on the Collider Sports podcast feed. We're going to bring you all kinds of stuff. Hope to hear from you soon.
We're back here, ladies and gentlemen, on Collider Live. In just a moment here, Reilly is going to get our guest, director Joe Berlinger, who is coming in to talk about and look at that, just like that. Perfect timing, like ladies and gentlemen.
You are the voice.
There he is. Joining us right now, he is the director of Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which is premiering on May 3rd on Netflix. Joe Berlinger is here. Hello, Joe. How are you?
Hey.
Nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
Sure. If you want to put those on, you can. It's easier here, but you don't have to.
know, always distracts me.
That's fine.
Now you don't know they're clapping for you, though.
There we go. You got to hear that.
There you go. There it is. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And it's funny because Mark Reilly, he's big
Huge true crime guy.
Cool.
Huge. And the Confessions of a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, is incredible.
I have mixed feelings about that true crime moniker that's labeled that I'm labeled with.
How come?
Yeah.
You know, I embrace it as much as I wince at it. Well, you know, true crime kind of conjures up the image that we're wallowing in the misery of others for entertainment purposes. And I'd like to think that a lot of my explorations of crime and others, I'm not the only one, you know, has an element of social justice to it. You know, wrongful convictions with Paradise Lost or, you know, shining a light on victim advocacy, as in the Whitey Bulger film, or, you know, stuff I've done in some of my TV series, like Killing Richard Glossop. There's a guy on death row that I think is innocent, and the state has tried to kill him 3 times. So my focus on crime, I would like to think, is not just some of the lower end scale of things that we all call true crime.
Right. It's not the reason that you watch these reality television shows. It's more so because you're trying to be informational. You're trying to get the certain things that maybe we didn't know.
Right.
And so let me ask you, why did you choose to get into this?
Bundy?
No, in general.
Oh.
In general first, yeah.
Well, you know, honestly, I wish I could say I had this great social justice mission right from the get-go, but back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I think there were a handful of documentarians doing different things to expand the form. You know, Errol Morris was expanding the form through, you know, recreations and taking that to the next level and making documentaries very cinematic looking. Michael Moore, of course, was, you know, filmmaker on camera as social curmudgeon, you know, advocating for social justice. Yeah. I mean, I think what Bruce and I were doing with Brothers Keeper, there really was no social justice component yet. We were just trying to expand the definition of what a documentary is. And in Brothers Keeper, you know, we did things that hadn't been done before. We had an evocative opening title sequence, which now we take for granted. Right. You know, we used a music score throughout the entire film, and in fact, documentarians back then, the leading documentarians said, "Oh, you can't have a music score in a documentary because that telegraphs how to think and feel." Right. And that means a documentary is not objective. But my feeling is all filmmaking is very subjective, whether you're, the many hours you leave on the floor of the edit room. You know, a film is 1,000 subjective decisions. So let's embrace the subjectivity. That doesn't give you the license to do things that aren't truthful when you're making a documentary. You can't put words into people's mouths. You can't put fake facts up there. But a film is, you know, a documentary to me is the emotional truth of a subject, not the literal truth. The literal truth of Paradise Lost is sitting through weeks of my dailies of the murder trial. That's the literal truth. You're trusting the filmmaker to give you the emotional truth of a situation. So why can't we use the tools that other narrative filmmakers use? Again, you're constrained in some areas. You can't, you know, manipulate chronology to the point where it's unreal or put words into people's mouths.
It's not based on a true story, this particular one.
Right. So we were kind of pushing the narrative form with Brothers Keeper, and we chose a murder trial because a murder trial has perfect dramatic structure. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. It has two antagonists and a protagonist vying for the truth, and at the end they're each changed. That's the classic definition of drama. So I kind of gravitated towards crime more for aesthetic purposes. And that brought us into Paradise Lost. And when we started making Paradise Lost, we thought we were making a film about guilty teenagers, because all the press coming out of Arkansas, these guys had just been arrested, and we went down to cover it 7 months before their trials. And all the press coming out of Arkansas was that these guys were guilty. On a scale of 1 to 10, the evidence was an 11, said the prosecutor each night on the TV news. There was a confession, which we now know is bogus, but there was a confession printed in the newspaper. So we thought we were going down to make a film about guilty teenagers, and it wasn't until 3 months into embedding in that community, about 4 months before the trial started, that we got access to the West Memphis 3 for the first time, interviewed them, and something, 1 + 1 wasn't equaling 2. It just felt like something was off. And then that kind of began our thinking, well, maybe they're innocent. And by the time Damien Eccles was chained up and led off to death row at the end of Paradise Lost, that's when the social justice gene, awakened in me. When I realized that, oh, wait, we just experienced the most unbelievable miscarriage of justice, where 3 guys were convicted for these devil-worshipping murders based on their musical taste in Metallica and liking Stephen King books, and there was no forensic evidence. And that's when it's
like a witch hunt.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's when the light bulb went off, and I said, wait, I can use film. We can use film to shine a light on injustice and in the criminal justice system. So I just kind of stumbled into it. But, it's kind of been a calling ever since.
Well, and obviously, I mean, there's 3, and there's a total of 3 now, Paradise Lost. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 of those. But the one thing that I think about, too, just hearing you talk about this, obviously there's a social justice element to it, but the other thing, though, is because you're in the crime element, you have to see, I mean, it's like police officers, you see the worst in humanity. Yeah. I mean, you really, especially now with the Ted Bundy stuff, like, does that mess your brain up, though, a little bit?
Does that make me a twisted, dark dude?
I don't know about that. Yeah,
makes me a cautious parent.
Yeah. Right. That's more of what I'm saying.
Yeah, and in fact, I have stared into the abyss of evil, more than I care to, and it's exactly why I wanted to do both of these Bundy projects, because the lessons of Bundy cannot be overstated, which are, he defies all stereotypes of what we think a serial killer is. We want to think a serial killer is some strange-looking, awkward social outcast that's on the periphery of the human condition, because that makes us feel comfortable that, he's easy, a serial killer is easily identifiable as a total weirdo, and therefore you can avoid them. But the truth about Bundy and many people who do evil, whether it's a priest who commits pedophilia and then holds mass the next day, or whether it's, a corporate CEO responsible for the OxyContin and opioid epidemic, and they all repressed research and told their sales force to tell doctors the opposite. I mean, I'm sure those guys have a wonderful circle of friends and people that love them and admire them, but that's also compartmentalized evil in my book. And the lessons of Bundy is that the people you least expect, and most often trust, like a priest who then does evil, or a serial killer who's actually a good guy in appearance. I mean, Bundy had a live-in girlfriend who, played by Lily Collins, Elizabeth Cluffer. Bundy had a live-in girlfriend who thought he was a fantastic guy, and by all accounts, he was a good guy to the people around him. That's why they couldn't believe that he was capable of such a thing. So, for me, the lessons of Bundy, can't be overstated for the next, for my daughter's generation. I have 2 daughters who are in the prototypical Bundy victim age range of, college kids. And, they never heard of him. And so, that was the first thing when I called them up. I said, hey, did you ever hear of Ted Bundy? Ask your friends. And none of them really knew who he was. Right. And I think in this era of internet catfishing and people, even on the positive end of things, we're all guilty of curating, not all of us, but I'm guilty. We curate our lives on social media, on Instagram, and obviously they are truthful portraits on the one hand, but we're all trying to put the best foot forward, and so take that to the next level. I think, there's a lot of people, a lot of internet predators out there, a lot of people who aren't what they're cracked up to be, and that's the lesson of Bundy, is just because somebody is white, good-looking, and charming doesn't mean you should trust them.
Right.
On that note, going back to the live-in girlfriend, because I saw the movie and I was really blown away by some of the choices that you made. I'm curious on your opinion on some things, because I don't know where you lie. Where it comes to Bundy and Liz, do you feel like she ever at any point knew what was going on, didn't know what was going on? Do you feel like we should judge her for not being aware of the situation? What did you think about their relationship?
I mean, we should absolutely not judge her. She's a victim, and she's portrayed as a victim in the movie. I think that's what's so pernicious about these types of situations, is that people present themselves in a certain way. For example, a lot of people have talked about, gee, how could those parents have let their kids be with Michael Jackson? So I don't know if you've seen Leaving Neverland. I mean, to me, I'm not critical of those parents. Michael Jackson presented him in such a way that he was believable and trustworthy. That's the power that somebody like a Bundy or a Michael Jackson has over people. In fact, in that courtroom at the end of the movie when John Malkovich is sentencing Bundy to death for his extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile acts, he's also taking the time to say, hey, I have no animosity towards you, and I wish you would have, gone a different way, partner, and I would have loved to have you practice in front of me because you would have made a good lawyer. Could you imagine if that was a person of color who had committed these crimes? He would be in chains and an orange jumpsuit, and they would be throwing the book at him. And so Bundy, even in his moment of being sentenced to death, has this hold over people. So I definitely don't think Liz should be criticized. I think she should be empathized with, and that's why I kind of put the movie through her point of view so that we can understand how we can become a victim to this type of psychopath.
When I hear you, the way that you, I think I was very familiar with Ted Bundy, obviously, because I remember the Mark Harmon movie back in the day. That was the first time because I was very young when I saw it, and it terrified me because that was the first time I recognized as a child that that type of evil was out in the world.
Yeah.
But hearing you discuss kind of what Ted Bundy was, how he was essentially a really good actor.
Yeah.
Really. Then this is by accident, by the way, that he's there today. But the Zac Efron, hearing you, that seems like almost why you would cast Efron, right? Because he seems like the last person in the world that would do something like this.
100%. I mean, some people have said, "Oh, it's stunt casting. You're hiring, Zac Efron." Well, what's the stunt? He's portraying somebody who is charming and likable, and that people, want to believe, and that's who Bundy was. And if Zac didn't have the goods to deliver, I think he did an amazing job performance-wise. So he delivered. So if he didn't deliver the goods and he was just kind of doing a Baywatch thing. Not to knock that film, just not
different
my,
movie.
just not my movie. Then maybe people could have the criticism, and people have said, "Oh, you're not all, some has said, oh, you're glorifying Bundy by making him charming and good looking." No, he was charming and good looking. People went to his Florida trial, still not thinking he was guilty of these things, and so. Zac was my first choice, and Gladys said yes, and the fact that he was willing to even do this movie meant that he was taking a 99% pay cut because this was a small indie movie, so demonstrative of his commitment to wanting to do something different. And also, since I'm mainly known for my documentaries, the idea that Zac in real life for a certain demographic has that hold over people. There's a large number of young women out there for whom Zac can do nothing wrong in real life. That's his persona. And so as a documentarian, to take that idea and bring that piece of reality into a movie, for me, just felt like I had some real life clay to play with.
What about his preparation? Because I would imagine it's very complicated to prep for a role who is the good guy. He's portraying himself as this amazing guy, but he has all these layers of the onion that he has to peel back. It's got to be very different than if you're the typical villain in a movie. Yeah. How did you guys implement that?
The thing we spent the most time on in rehearsal, and I'm not a big rehearsal person. I kind of like to let things happen when we're actually making the film. So rehearsal for us is just sitting around the table and just talking about the scenes, and what their meaning is. So for us, we spent a lot of time talking about how much the relationship between Zac and Lily needs to be real. That you're not deceiving her in certain moments. That you actually care about her. And that initially he had a hard time, with that idea. But I believe that. And this is controversial, I think all people are – this is not excusing the guy. He's a horrible person. But I think all people are capable of love depending on how you define love. Love can also be extremely needy and selfish. And I think –
Was that Zac's problem with the fact that we were giving this guy any bit of kind of
yeah, he was having a hard time wrapping his head around, and we worked through it, and he nailed it tremendously, the idea that he could actually love her.
So you believe he did really, truly love her?
It depends how you define love. I mean, love could be love as a selfless act, no, but love as a deep need for normalcy and a connection to another human being, yes, I do believe he loved her. That's why he didn't kill her.
Was she ever in harm? Like, do they know if she was ever in harm?
There was a couple of it. There was at one point she felt that he tried to like leave the house and block the door and close the damper to the fireplace, and that he was attempting to kill her in a moment of weakness. We chose not to put that in the movie because the compression of time is very different in real life than in a movie. If it's like if you're living with a drug addict, or you're living with a cheater, or you're living with somebody who has a fault, over a 6 or 7 year period, if there's a couple of incidents every 6 months, you tend to dismiss those, and you don't put all the pieces together until you really emotionally recognize what's going on, which is what that hallway scene is at the end of the movie.
Right.
In a movie, which is an hour and 50 minutes long, time is a very different thing. And there were a couple of things in her memoir, for example. She found a knife in his glove compartment. They kept separate apartments but lived together basically. But once at his apartment, she found a cup full of keys that she didn't recognize, house keys. The moment you put those things into the movie, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, it's impossible to ask the audience to then relate to their relationship. And so I chose to leave a few things out because, again, if you're living with an alcoholic, a drug addict, a cheater, an abuser, unless it's every day, you tend to push that bad information away until the moment that it all comes together. So she did have a few more clues in her memoir than the movie indicates, but I felt like the most important thing for me is for the audience to buy the relationship, to in fact intellectually suspend the knowledge that you're walking into a Bundy movie. Of course, you're walking into a Bundy movie, but while the first half of the movie is unfolding, I want people to relate to them, to relate to the relationship, so you can experience what the people who are deceived are experiencing. And so that, in fact, when he jumps out the window and escapes, which I hope I'm not spoiling.
It's in the trailer.
Movie.
It's in the trailer.
Right, so it's in the thank you. So when he jumps out the window to escape, I almost want the audience to be rooting for that relationship, rooting for the two to get back together, so that by the end of the movie, when he finally admits to her in that final death row scene that he's actually done these things, even though she intellectually knows it, it's the first time she emotionally puts it all together. I want the audience to have that same sense of revulsion and disgust that she has, because I literally want people to say, "Oh my God, I was rooting for Zach jumping out the window, but ugh, what a horrible person," and then to have that same experience as the character.
I have so many questions about this. I have so many. The scene at the end that you're describing, and I don't want to spoil completely how it goes about, but is that what happened? Is that how she finds out what he's done?
Honestly, in the memoir, it was a phone call. I amped it up to be on death row. And
it was a phone call in which he admits to her?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's kind of from the confession tapes and the conversations with the killer, and you're presenting Ted Bundy as a monster.
Yeah.
When you're going into this movie, was it hard for you to humanize him? Like, how did you go about switching your brain over from the documentary to this? Because now hearing you talk about what you're trying to do with Zac Efron and his character, for all of us to root for Ted Bundy, did you get any pushback from that, from like Netflix or anything like that? Or
Oh no! First of all, Netflix didn't come along until after the movie was done, and they bought it at Sundance. So basically, everyone was bidding on the final cut of the movie, which was good. But was it hard to humanize? I think that's a funny word, and I think it gets confused with glorify. And some people have said, "Oh, you're glorifying Bundy," and I think that's like a knee-jerk misunderstanding of the human condition, and not, again, as a guy who has spent 25 years really covering crime, I believe that there is one spectrum of human behavior. We want to think that serial killing is like some aberrant thing on the far fringes of humanity, which on the one hand, obviously it is. Most people aren't serial killers. but there's one spectrum of compartmentalized evil, and by that I mean, you know, we've all had a boss who's a jerk to the underling, and presents a nice face to their boss. You move along the spectrum, you got, you know, the CEOs of fossil fuel companies denying climate change, but they know what the impact is. The OxyContin example I gave before, you know, you got people, you know, causing 200,000 opioid epidemics, opioid deaths in the worst drug epidemic we've had, and yet they're good guys and they function, you know, they're not evil all day long.
Right.
Then you got the serial killer or anybody who does true evil often presents a positive face. And so humanizing them is not condoning or forgiving them. Humanizing them is treating people and portraying people the way they really are as a cautionary tale to others, that just because somebody looks and acts a certain way, you shouldn't trust them.
I thought you nailed that.
Yeah.
I really did. I'm curious also about the relationships, because you portrayed Liz one way and Carol Ann a completely different way in this movie. Do you feel more for Liz than you do for Carol Ann, who is his later partner?
They are portrayed differently. Carol Ann, I felt, was much more manipulated by Ted and was opportunistically being used by him, so that was part of the portrayal. I think she also was, her cluelessness as to the reality, I think is a little more clueless than Liz. I think Liz had a good reason. She only saw the good side of him.
But not bad. You're not judging her either.
Oh, not
you
at
just
all.
think she was oblivious.
Not at all. It's all about the power that that this guy had over. Even during this trial, she was seduced and manipulated by him.
And then we hear about the fact that, and something that the public knows, that they have a child together.
Exactly.
Did you ever explore going down that road? Who is Ted Bundy's daughter, and where is she now?
We did look into it, and we got the distinct message that these people want to remain anonymous, and they've changed their names, and they're hard to find, and they haven't given interviews in a long time.
So you didn't actually talk to them.
So we did not,
But somebody's got to be keeping it. I mean, just kind of because of DNA, someone's got to be kind of keeping an eye and seeing if anything's wrong there, though, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Okay.
a hard one. That's
yeah.
a hard one.
That's
You know,
a
we
million-dollar
reached out to a
question.
bunch of victims' families, and they made it clear that, you know, it was more intrusive to interact and talk to us than not. And so, you know, some you know, Kathy Kleiner and I, who's one of the surviving victims of the Chi Omega attacks, you know, she and I have had a nice dialogue. Carol Duranch and I have, you know, she actually appeared in conversations with the killer. Some people don't want to be not bothered. They don't want the trauma to be revisited, and others were more willing to talk. So.
Well, the movie, once again, guys, it is extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. It premieres May 3rd, and that is on Netflix. Joe Berlinger, the director, thank you so much
thanks for having me.
joining us.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. Guys, when we get back, we are going to go heavy deep into that Game of Thrones stuff, but once again, go and check it out on May 3rd. It is the movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. Thank you again.
Hey, thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. Good to
All
see
right,
you guys.
See you in a little bit.
Hello there. No, it's not late to the party. That's actually from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You didn't know that? Well, you should, and now you do. Jedi Council. What is it? It's about Star Wars, obviously. It's Jedi Council. Every week, the latest and greatest in Star Wars movie news. Myself and Ken Knapsack, that's right, the pit boss himself. We have a guest on, and we talk about everything happening in the world of Star Wars. If it's the movie news, the TV news, canon news, comic books, games, and then we take questions from you guys on Facebook and Twitter. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm still excited talking about it. The fan base is coming together again. I believe it is. I think it is. I hope it is. And we're talking Star Wars, so we like you. That's right. All of you. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, come on over and join us every Thursday for Collider Jedi Council here on Collider Video. And we have an Apple Podcast feed or Podcast One, wherever you want to go if you listen to podcasts. And not only do you get Collider Jedi Council every week on Thursday, The Rule of Two with Mark Fernandez and Mark Reilly, that's on every week. I believe it drops on Wednesday. It's on one of these days. It's a good show. You should listen to it. I like it. I listen to it. I haven't listened to it once.
Hey guys, Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com. And if you're a pro wrestling fan, which I hope you are, even if it's in secret, then you should be checking out Wrestling Sheet Radio Weekly. We've got a bunch of shows in the podcast feed. We've got weekly recaps from myself and John Roca, which you guys will probably know from the Collider family. That's for Raw, that's for SmackDown. We've also got the weekly roundup of wrestling news. It's a show I host called Wrestling Sheet Radio with Jamie Iovine and Elijah Bates. And we've also got a bunch of other stuff in our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. So check it out, subscribe, and I hope you guys dig it.
Hey guys, Perry here to remind you to tune in for Collider Movie Talk every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. PT Live. We are live. We talk about movies. We answer your live Twitter questions. It's so much fun. We talk about everything from box office to all your favorite superhero movies. We talk about horror on a good day for me, and who knows, maybe even a spoonerism will happen. I don't know. That's what happens when you watch Collider TV Mock, right? Are you going to watch? You better watch. Go watch now.
What's up, Collider fans? If you are a fan of television and you want to watch a guy that looks like me and a guy named Thad Williams talk about TV every single Friday, subscribe to the Collider channel. Collider Podcast is where you can find the video. We have our own iTunes feed, hashtag at Collider TV Talk. You can find on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts and you listen to them in your ear holes. That's where Collider TV Talk comes at you. We talk about TV news. We talk about shows we love, shows that we don't love, and most importantly, we don't read any books because TV has nothing to do with reading. We also have a show called Hypothetical Questions with myself and Roxy Stryer and all kinds of reviews right here at the Collider Podcast channel and the Collider TV Talk feed. Subscribe, rate, like, tell your friends, tell all your friends and tell their friends, and before you know it, it's a pyramid scheme of television. I'm Josh McCouga. You can see Thad Williams and myself along with Roxy Stryer and all the Collider personalities all the time right here on Collider TV Talk. As always, put down the book, pick up the remote.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. Rule of Two is a Star Wars podcast hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. It drops on the Jedi Council podcast feed every Tuesday. You like Star Wars? Good. I like Star Wars. And you know what we do? We talk Star Wars. And not only talking Star Wars, we celebrate Star Wars. We gave the Golden Lightsabers the best in Star Wars, best picture, best opening theme, best crawl, and all that good stuff. We celebrate the games of Star Wars. We do everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of debate and a lot of discussion thrown in the middle. So make sure you check out Rule of Two every Tuesday on the Collider Jedi Council podcast feed, on iTunes, and later on Collider Video. That's Rule of Two with Reilly and Mark Fernandez every Tuesday. And may the Force be with you.
Welcome back, everybody. Collider Live. That was really cool, I gotta tell you, because we only got a chance to talk to Joe for about half an hour, but when you are going from those tapes, then into that movie, that's a lot of time that you're spending with Ted Bundy, man.
Uncomfortable time.
Yeah, in your head. I mean, like you said, the guy's got daughters and everything. It's just like that's got to fuck you up.
I wonder if for a single second at any point he was questioning if Ted did this.
I don't think so.
I'm wondering if for a single second he's spending all that time.
Yeah. I think
forensic evidence.
I think it's pretty clear that.
Oh God, I'm not questioning.
I know what
I'm
you're
just saying if like you have to find ways to be so invested in your subjects.
Right.
And I'm wondering if at one point he's watching a tape of him saying I didn't do, and he's like, well.
Well, but that's the thing. I think that he spent so much time doing the first part and then Ted pretty much gives it up inside of the.
Or before that though.
Even before he did those tapes, though, I don't know.
I mean, look at his IMDb. He's done a lot of very intense things. Yeah. He's not doing Dumb and Dumber 2. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think you get into it. Mindhunter, same kind of a situation. Yeah. I mean, it's based on true stuff.
It is cool.
Paradise Lost, Metallica, all this stuff.
It was cool talking to him, but it's nice to kind of cleanse the palate a little bit from the evil of reality sometimes and kind of go into the evil of fiction. And that's kind of where we're headed on Game of Thrones here. And so, thank you, Cody.
Oh, shit.
And so, again, warning for everybody who's either listening or tuning in live, this is a spoiler-heavy review here of the episode from last night. So if you have not seen last night's
Game
episode,
of Thrones season 8, episode 2.
Correct.
Yeah. We're not going to talk anything about Bosch season 5.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore.
What was the name
Although
of
Titus
this
Welliver
episode?
does deserve some conversation.
Does anybody know the name
Why
of last
couldn't I
night's
find
episode?
it? I looked for an hour
The Night of
online.
the Seven Kingdoms.
The Night of the Seven
which
Kingdoms.
now makes a lot
Which
of
is
sense.
a reference to
Brienne.
Brienne.
Oh my God, I could not find that.
I know, me too.
Well, they don't release it.
They don't release
after.
until the episode.
I watched on it and it just said 69.
Yeah,
and I was like,
hello.
is this a weird joke?
Hello.
Nice.
Well, let me tell you that this episode was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It basically, I was telling, I don't remember, I think I was talking to Remsen outside or Copster, and I was saying that that this should be, now, this episode should be called Death Bus. Because it's like everyone that you saw last night, they're setting you up. They're letting you know, like, a lot of these people are Gonski, and here's your last moment with them. Here's your last few moments with them.
But or not. We don't know. We really don't.
Thanks,
and
Roxy.
No, but that's it. I really mean that. The great thing about this show is that I have 15,000 predictions, and so many of them contradict each other.
Right.
Because we truly, most of the times during this show, Josh and I watch so much TV, I can tell you exactly who's a goner.
And be right.
But for this one,
Yeah.
I have thoughts, but I don't feel confident.
I'm just saying there's Vegas odds. You could put a couple of people up there pretty high.
Certainly Jamie.
Jamie is gone.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is gone.
Gonzo.
They said they redeemed him. He's gone. He's got nowhere else to go. They redeemed him. Everybody accepted that he's redeemed, and he made Brienne a knight. He's done everything that the audience could possibly want, from that scumbag in season 1 to a beloved character. He's gone.
I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not sure.
All right.
I'm not sure.
Are you sure
Do
about
mean-
anybody?
Do you mean by the end of episode 6,
I think
or do you mean
I think
by
by
the
3.
end of...
I think 3. He's gone.
I think he makes it out of 3.
You do.
Well, I'm 50-50, but if I have to say I'm 51%.
Also because of the prophecy is that Cersei will be killed by her brother.
Exactly.
Or,
So
know,
that's
Tyrion.
why-
It could be Tyrion or it could be Jamie. We don't know.
I think it's better if it's Tyrion, but I think if Jamie doesn't make it out of episode 3, it will be too obvious that it's Tyrion.
I don't want Tyrion to kill her. I don't.
Why? You would prefer
I just
Jamie,
don't
or you
think
don't
it's
want
weird for
anybody
his
to?
character to kill Cersei. Killing his dad made sense because his dad put him on trial, but Cersei is just an angry daughter who's been kind of shit on for years, and
all
so
of her
this is
kids
her
have
way.
died.
The person that has the most to gain by killing Cersei and the most like character redemption and audience is Sansa. Sansa should put a knife through her fucking eyeball.
Right.
That's a more
Yes.
Not even
Yes.
Arya should kill her.
no prophecy.
Sansa has
But
more.
Sansa.
If you're thinking about the prophecy, though, because what does that mean in terms of the other parts of the prophecy
Right.
if Sansa kills Cersei? What does that mean?
Right.
About her
Does
children?
it, is it
about-
not true? Because the children have
Right.
come true.
Exactly.
All her children have died. So from the old lady prophecy and stuff. So yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's not poetic justice, because for sure it is, but I have to question it. And I
Why
also,
not Tyrion teaming up with Sansa?
But also if Sansa
Totally, 'cause
they have a
married,
relationship,
yeah.
right? And they have that. And this is the second time last night that you see Sansa has a deep respect for Tyrion.
Yeah.
She really does, and she even defends him again last night. Which I love that whole storyline with Dany kind of wanting to turn her back, and everyone was like, "You can't. This is the smartest dude that we have," and he's made mistakes.
The two best scenes last night were Sansa, in my opinion, Sansa and Dany at the table, and then around the fire. Everybody around the fire. Those are the two best scenes. That Sansa and Dany thing. We're going to be girlfriends, and all of a sudden, but I want some. But what about us and our? Wait a minute. And it was like, oh shit.
What about the
and it got
North?
cut out.
What about the North?
Right.
Yeah.
And
She's-
Dany didn't go. Like, you'll be the warden.
Dany has been a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
For
That's
like
a
the
great way
whole
to say
series,
it.
right?
Yeah.
And now she's finally getting some pushback, and she's like, "Oh, there's politics in this,
Yeah.
right?" Because she was just like, "I want the Iron Throne. I got the dragon.
She
Here
was
I
Caesar.
come."
She was Alexander the Great for a
Totally,
long
yeah,
time, and
100%.
now she's got to play.
and now
politics.
she's got to play
But
politics.
Her people skills are for
what
shit.
I loved that she reminded us in last night's episode is who manipulated who. Because I've been saying the exact same thing. Dany's been this wrecking ball. Nobody has stopped her. She's going through. But let's actually look at the situation here. Where is she right now? What war is she fighting? Because it's not the one she wants to be fighting. And yes, if she doesn't fight this war, she won't get the chance to fight
Right.
the war she
Yeah.
wants to fight.
Right.
But still, she's there for John. No mistake about it.
Right,
Well,
but I
if
would
she
push.
was
But I
there for
would push
Jon,
back. But
yeah.
I would push back twice though on that. I push back to you and Danny because I think you got to look at the clear-cut definition of what manipulation manipulation is.
Right.
Like he wasn't manipulating.
He was
anyone.
just asking.
If she was manipulated by love, that's one thing. But he was pretty cut and dry as far as like this is what I want to do. Manipulation is what like Littlefinger would do.
Intention.
I agree. I don't think it was dirty manipulation, but I think he did help mold the situation and on purpose and very
convincing.
To her front, not to her back.
Right.
But I do think that she is there for him, and now we'll see how there for him she really is now that this information's on the table.
Right. Because that's.
I saw this meme of it's related to it. Is my real name's Aegon Targaryen. It's, who told you, Bran? And then there's just a dude on a flaming wheelchair.
It's from Red Dragon. Yeah, Phil because that's certainly possible. We brought this up on the recap last night. I brought it up. I said the only people who know are Sam, Gilly, and Bran.
Well, yes, and the text. It's also in the text.
Well, yeah, but a dragon
scrolls.
burns texts.
That's true.
And so if she went, because like her reaction to John, and Ashley brought this up, you saw immediately where she fell out of love with John was the second John said, "Well, I'm in." She realized John's rightful heir to the throne.
Here's the big problem with that whole scene with both of them.
Because she's like, wait a minute.
Wait.
Who told you?
They're both talking about, wait, who's getting the throne? Wait, I've been fucking my aunt?
Correct.
Yeah.
That didn't even get brought up.
Not once.
That didn't get brought up.
Okay,
Well, because the
but here-
Targaryens have a history of sleeping with their family.
Yeah, but he's not. He doesn't know he's a
He
Targaryen.
He does now.
That's the thing, guys. I don't think people realize when we've talked about Jaime and Cersei, having sex with your sibling in any family at any point has been known as wrong. Having sex with your uncle was not always, or your aunt is not always wrong. I'm not saying in my opinion it's not wrong.
You mean in the history of the
but
books or you mean in life?
In the history of life. In the history of our life.
What? Roxy, take a breather.
Roxy, what's going on?
What are you talking about?
Are you guys kidding?
Great show today, guys.
There's a reason we had to have laws against this because people were doing it.
Well, that doesn't mean that was right.
I'm not saying that I think morally it's right. I'm saying that it was happening. Are you guys kidding right now?
No, the
it was
monarchy-
happening
There's differences
all of the time.
That's not what you said.
You don't know. You have no basis for that.
Wait,
You
no.
have no facts. You're just
Yes,
saying
I do.
that.
Societally.
Where's your facts, though? Where are you
the
getting that
Jews.
from?
The Jews are my facts. The Ashkenazi Jews. Do you not know this?
I don't know this.
Okay, so the Jewish.
Please go ahead.
The Jewish people.
What a direction we went for this spoiler video.
The Jewish people very often are.
Yeah.
It's known that there's a lot of inbred
Incestual stuff?
Jews. Yes,
Okay.
because of everything that people were going through, and the only options that you had were limited, right? Because of who you're bunking with.
I gotta
for
tell you
lack of
something.
better
You go
words.
in directions sometimes. I just don't know where you're gonna go.
The point is that many times in the history of our world, based off of whatever it is, incest was happening and it was a societal norm. I'm not saying everywhere. I'm not saying today. I'm not saying in the last 50 whatever years.
Yeah.
But that was happening. I don't believe with the Targaryens it would have been insane. You would have been strung up and burned if they found out that you were sleeping with somebody you were related to.
Sure.
I don't think Dany is going to think that that's the biggest issue here.
Right. No, absolutely. Because
yeah,
totally.
her obsession
It
is
was,
the
it was a long road to get there, but we got there.
You guys don't think that there's ever been incest?
No, no.
No,
We
no,
know
no,
there's
no,
No one
incest.
said
It's just
that.
the way
No one
you
said
started.
that. It was the way that you said it. It was just like, that was accepted. Everybody
It's
used to fuck
society
each
accepted.
other.
It wasn't actually not.
Uncle.
In a lot of societies, I'm
All right,
speaking about the
this
Jews.
Is a much
people.
this is a much longer
What?
conversation
Because
somewhere else. Let's talk about the
monarchy,
episode.
certainly in the monarchy, you can. There's
Tons of
it's definitely evidence for that.
and there's tons of shit going on. That was, but as far as the episode itself goes, right?
no.
Going back to.
Can I just say
that scene though? But that scene.
Yeah, I was just going to say in that scene, okay?
Yeah.
The first reaction should have been she steps away and she goes, so what we're doing, like they could have added maybe 10 more lines of dialogue to say what we're doing is wrong. And then she should have been like, and you have a claim to the Iron Throne, instead of getting angry about the claim to the Iron Throne. Because
I
now
don't
you
think
know
she
that
thinks it's wrong.
you lost all the respect from Dany in one situation of she doesn't give a shit about anything but the Iron Throne.
Yeah, right. Well, and
You
I
think
actually
she thinks it's wrong, though? You
I don't
think
think,
she
I don't
knows
think,
that?
I actually don't think that.
I don't
she's
think she
even-
thinks
I don't
that.
think she's thinking about it.
I
think
think she's just thinking of the Iron Throne.
Because as much as I joke around
All
the
she
fact
cares
that they
about is
didn't
the
bring it
Iron
up, because that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're in the middle, right before battle, and they say, once the horns go off, that's what I liked about the two of them. They just stopped and said, let's get to business. But now the question is, does Jon got to be looking over his shoulder on the woman that he loves, his aunt, right? And now it's like, but now he's accepted it full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So will they turn Dany into this villain now? Because
Yes.
if she turns her back and tries to take out Jon Snow, because it's ultimately about the Iron Throne, which his goal has never really been about having the title. It's always been about securing it and taking out, because what happens once the death is over, once this war is over? What happens? Because it goes back to politics one way or another, unless they don't win the war.
And don't forget, Dany has that Targaryen blood. Her dad set the whole place on fire, wildfire. Certainly, and every time she gets threatened, the cockles come up, and immediately she
burns Sam once.
That being said, though, Dany has had one of the most terrible upbringings and backstories to endure. So her reaction, like Cersei's reactions at times, are understandable to a degree because of her upbringing. Jon was taken care of, loving family. Yeah, Cat Stark hated him most of the time, but Ned was always taking care of him. The kids liked him. But Dany and Cersei have always endured a rejection or a selling off or watching her brother threaten her unborn child and watching him die in front and having Kyle brought back to life, but in a trick as in essence, a vegetable. So she's endured a lot to get to this point. So the throne is the only thing she's endured to get there. To not get it right at the end must be one of the most difficult things to accept.
But I do think it is a really possibility. It is true that it could be, and I know you guys are going to jump on me, that she does end up being good and doesn't turn evil.
If they redeem Jaime, they can
jump
redeem
on me
Dany.
about the incest. I don't know what's going to happen here.
No.
Everybody on the internet right now is pretty positive she's going to turn on them. She's going to turn on the Starks, and I'm including Jon Snow and the Starks for the purposes of this conversation. But I think she might not.
A heel turn, would you say?
A heel turn, some might say. But she might not, because at the end of the day, this show has a lot been about female empowerment. And we might see her and Sansa be able to work this out and find a way for Dany to be on the throne, for Jon to be king of the North, or Sansa. We might, I know, Josh, you talked about the democracy theory. We might be able to figure this out. Although she has been so blinded by it, I'm not sure. But it's possible. It's possible that she ends up good.
My thought is, okay, so the one thing I kept going through the whole show, I'm like, everybody keeps saying, we're just all going to die. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. It's like hanging out with that one family member and be like, the Steelers are going to lose. They're going to lose. They're always going to lose. They're never going to win a Super Bowl again. We're losers. We're losers. We're losers. It's that one effing relative and every single thing. Well, the Steelers would have won. And like, just shut up. We're going to win one day, right? All these people are like, we're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. That's what really started weighing on me in this episode. Now, that taken back, when they're sitting around the fire, awesome. Like the episode itself, I thought Max Dion, one of the producers at Screen Junkie, said it funniest. It was like they should have called this episode Blue Balls, because we are just sitting there waiting, and I'm nervous the whole episode because I'm thinking to myself, if I'm in that situation, right? You're going into battle. This is like your last night of freedom, okay? I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, we're going to lose these people. This is all. And then he when they're on the wall and they see the Night King's kind of show, and he nods at Dany. When Jon Snow nods Dany, I keep thinking to myself, she's going to send a dragon to King's Landing to kill the Golden Guard. She's going to only have one dragon up there because she doesn't want to even think about possibly not getting there.
You don't think the Night King's there, right?
No, I thought one of the people in the chat suggested something that the Night King, if he starts to lose the battle in the north, could take the dragon and go to the south and kill the Golden Company and convert them into zombies, and Cersei. And I thought, well, this could bring the Lady Stoneheart storyline, which everyone is mad at that Cat Stark didn't become Lady Stoneheart. You could make the Lady Stoneheart.
What is that? For those
it's
people
where
who don't know,
she dies, then comes back as a White Walker with no emotion, no love.
Catherine Stark did.
Some might say she has a stone heart.
Hey, nice. And so you see that could be there. You go. That could be possible with Cersei, and it could still work that Sansa could eventually kill Cersei. Then Cersei gets reanimated and becomes a White, and then Jaime has to kill her with dragonglass. So the prophecy could still come in a roundabout way. And as Roxy said earlier, there's 15,000 predictions on this thing. You go a million different ways, which is what's great about the show. Josh, you're right. It feels like that World War II movie. Oh, I can't wait till I get back. I'm going to ride that car and go to Ebbets Field. You're fucking dead. Like, they're all going to, in some way, they're all going to die.
Theon. Oh. He's so screwed.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody whose storyline has come full circle.
Yeah.
We have no use for him anymore. Not only is he dead, but he should die.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
He's got to die for Winterfell.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Arya stuff. It was so funny because everyone's talking about this to where she we've been following her since she was 11 years old.
Yes.
So was it very awkward for me watching her in this scene? Yes, it was. Now, do I think that they should have shown it? Yes, I do. She's 21 years old.
Yeah.
She's out there. She's like, I want to get laid before we go
Smart.
into this thing.
Genius move.
Yeah.
She's always had a thing for what's his face,
Gendry.
and it was he's done too, by the way. She's gonna see
Gendry
it.
will eventually,
Well,
possibly.
I think on the battlefield she's gonna see
He's
it.
the
It's
last
gonna-
Baratheon.
Yeah, he's got to climb
Yeah.
to the throne in
Not
a roundabout
really.
way.
Kind of.
This
Roundabout way.
is so cool, though, that this show is taking the stance where Sansa, way more feminine and has always been that dress-wearing princess of a girl. Arya, super duper, like, I'm going to fight. Super tomboy, no interest in dudes, will mess you up. And even...
She's got the dragon glass stick now. It's freaking dope.
But at the end,
this'll do.
the person that we're seeing in the final season with a love interest is not Sansa.
Right.
It is Arya, and that's pretty dope. But not only that, but that we see Arya be, even though it's her first time, she's like totally dominant in there, and she shows her.
It fits her
side of
personality,
it,
though,
and
too.
it just
Yeah.
works. And I commend the show for going that route.
No, sorry, I do too. I just tweeted out because we were watching and the wife said, "How old is she?" And I go, "I don't know. This feels awkward because, like you said,
you were following her since you were a kid?
listen, if my little niece is 11 when I start watching something and she's like, I'm going to go out with this boy and she's 18, I'm like, I'm going to kick the shit out of that.
Right, you're thinking of her as the 11. You're always
the
gonna see her.
11-year-old.
Bad Boys
That's what
2,
we
bringing
see.
that gun.
Yeah, totally.
She also looks pretty young.
She does. She still looks very young. But that being said, it wasn't so much. I thought that was a really, really cool, well done scene. What I will say is that the lead up of the episode, and then to see the final shot of Theon and Sansa sitting there holding hands, it's like, listen, she can only trust a man with no penis. Really, like she really can, because she's been totally she's been
over.
by everybody, literally and figuratively. Okay, Joffrey, Littlefinger, Ramsay, all these kind of people.
But not
and she-
Tyrion. Tyrion's good to her.
Tyrion's good to her.
He's got a working penis.
But she doesn't. But there's never been like a love thing. He's
No,
just
no, right.
helped.
It's respect.
Do you know what I
It's
mean?
just a marriage, not
Totally,
love.
totally. And
Which was a societal norm back then.
totally. It was always just
And eating
True.
people too.
True.
Yeah.
Have you guys never heard of incest?
we have. I live close to West Virginia.
Come on.
I'm not a fan of
What's
it.
the deal with fucking
up with their ass.
Why are you fucking your aunt? Cut it out. She's got a
Hashtag
dragon.
Not pro incest.
Cousins and aunts were banging all the time.
Just show her your dragon.
It's there.
You know how much trouble I'm in on the internet right now. I don't even want Mark to open it up.
Oh, I'm sure that chat room was a blast.
I ain't going in there.
Did you like the? Where did you cry? Because a lot of people saying they cried at the
Oh, the
Brienne,
Brienne.
and some people cried
Bawling.
at the.
Yeah,
some people cried at the.
I didn't cry, but I definitely felt the like that scene.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was such a good scene because they were all giving her props because she was getting shit for so long. Everyone made fun of her.
Yeah.
Everyone gave her how tall, for being tall and for being
Strong.
dudish
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And she just could never get anyone's respect. And even she says it to Jamie last night. She's like, "What's going on? We've been standing next to each other. You haven't cracked a joke on me
You
once.
haven't insulted me.
Right?
Yeah,
You haven't
like,
insulted me."
yeah.
And he's like, "I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that." And I thought it was fitting, and it was great because they've always had a respect for each other. That he was just like, "Come kneel," and then she looks over to
Davos.
No, Gondry. Is that who?
Yeah, Gendry.
Gendry.
No,
Podrick.
Podrick.
Podrick. She looks over to Podrick,
Yeah.
and Podrick kind of gives her that subtle like, "Do it."
Yeah.
Do not kneel over there. And then they all started clapping for her. It was just a sweet moment that she was
It's an amazing
acknowledged by her
moment.
peers.
Did
Yeah.
you guys watch the Inside the Episode afterwards?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I loved them talking about it
missed it,
too
though. What
because
was it?
they say, the creators say,
Yeah.
she's the most knightly of all of
Yeah,
the characters.
absolutely.
She is the one who represents what it is to be a
Yes.
knight. So of course, why not? And again, talking about women on this show, I just think this show has done it so effing beautifully where there's all different types of guys, of course, but we've seen so many of them. There's all different types of women, and she's one of them, and she deserves to be a knight. And I love that every person in that room knew that, embraced that. There was no pushback. Nobody stopped and was like, "Yeah, but technically,
These aren't the
do you
rules."
think that you
Right.
should have the no, shut the F up and sit down."
It's the same people that
Yeah.
didn't like the Ghostbusters all-female idea.
Yeah, and if you don't like the movie, you don't like the movie. But
Sure,
right.
this scene, it had me in hysterics because she deserves this more
Yeah.
than anybody there. She earned this, so why not? Because she has a
It was
vagina.
awesome.
I think Roxy, what you said, it also like it's ironic that Jamie knights her in what he says for the father, all those things. Jamie has violated all those things
funny
as a
you-
knight.
yeah, it's funny
but
you say that.
Brienne
She
is the
hasn't.
only one hasn't.
It was
That's
like
ironic.
it was like a Cree that she should have gotten.
Yes.
Because even when you go back to earlier in the episode, she does exactly that. She
Yeah.
stands up for him,
Yeah.
and she puts her reputation on the line. And because she's the one that's saying it, Sansa's like, "You say it, done."
Right.
Because that's what I love. I love that relationship. She's like, "You saved my life," and then she even says to Danny, Sansa does later on. She's like, "I trust her with my life. She says he's good. He's good." And like that. That's the type of respect.
Just
those
totally
two
East
have.
Coast values. Too,
Yeah,
by the way. I was like,
it's just like she's got my. It's
a good guy.
It's
He's
a
a good
mafia
guy.
type thing too.
Totally.
But it's because she said, "Do you vouch for him?"
Yeah.
I do. Okay, then that's it. That's all I need. Then we're good.
At this point, are you Team Sansa or Team Danny?
Sansa.
And Sansa as well.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that this show by
turned
this
it, yeah.
season?
Yeah.
Because if you would ask me a few years ago, even maybe last year,
I'm on Danny's side.
I would have said Team Sansa. What's Team
Because
Sansa?
that's why my father-in-law asked me last night. He had never seen an episode before, and he said to me, he goes, "Why do people like this show so much?" And I said, "It's layered." I was like, and the writing is really good when you look at, and obviously because of the books of George R.R. Martin, but you look at the way that the character Sansa started. And her arc all the way to now, like she's significantly different, and you believe it of the things that she's gone through and what she's learned. And a lot of these characters, when you go through and you see, looking at Jamie too, because
All the main characters.
Yes, because if you go back to a majority of storytelling in general, a character like Jamie does not come along. A guy who's, and because it's hard to do. You hated him so much. He threw a child out of a window and paralyzed him. What was that?
It was Siri who didn't
Siri
understand.
just jumped up. Yeah.
Siri wants to get involved in the conversation.
Even Cersei had a moment of redemption when she's walking nude and they're saying shame to her.
You feel for her for a
felt
second.
for her in that moment, no matter what she went
Because
through.
it's
You're like,
nobody should have to do this.
nobody
Right.
should endure it. It's a horrible thing to endure. But then she goes back to being who she's
Right.
She lit him up with wildfire. Which
she
was
did.
awesome.
Yeah, she did.
Somebody tweeted at something, I forget who I saw it, but it was like, if Jamie Lannister doesn't have a fist made of dragon glass, I'm gonna be real bummed out. Like I want to see like the
punching people
yeah,
in the
just,
face.
gosh.
What did you guys think about the scene about the Unsullied protecting
Miss
Miss
Sunday and Grey Worm?
and Grey Worm?
Well, first of all, we did mention this on the recap. We
part?
should have.
So Grey Worm and
Miss Sunday.
Sunday, I
Yeah.
always mess up her name. They are communicating, and he's like, where do you want to go? We
Oh,
can't
yes,
always stay
yes.
here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, my people can't fight.
Right.
That scene.
Yeah, but
I took that.
They should. The last two episodes, they've made an allusion subtly to the racism there because
they're racist.
when they come in, the white people are like this more so than anybody else walking through. And then again, the episode, those two little white kids run away from her because they think they look at her and then run away. And he says, "We don't belong here," and that's a kind of subtle reference to the race thing. But him saying like, "Our people will protect you." It's a sweet moment. I think he's gonna die.
I think he's going to die as well.
Grey Worm's gonna die.
There was an article.
Oh,
I
he's
forget
definitely
who.
going to die because the whole point was that it's that pulling on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Oh man, once he goes, you're like, oh, but he was going to take her to the beach.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's what they did all. And they set you up first because you're right. Also,
I wanna go home.
Yeah, but they set you up. They set you up for a bunch of these scenes last night of which ones are going to make it and which one, because look at the Hound, right?
Yeah.
Now, I initially thought the Hound was going to die, but then you guys were right. He's got to fight the Mountain.
Yeah, Clegane Bowl has to
He's
happen.
got to fight. He's got
Clegane Bowl.
those
Yeah.
two.
It's been a hashtag for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Like,
But all those scenes, like those little scenes like that kept taking place, and it's like, okay, well, and who's the one with the patch, the Lord of the Light?
Dondarrion.
Yeah, see,
Beric Dondarrion,
I don't know
yeah.
any of these.
Dondarrion.
And that's why books people come at me, bro. But it's like
Don't open that
I'm
window.
just kidding. But when it comes to
like 9 minute
I
comments.
think he's gone too.
Oh, he has to be, but
Yeah.
he's also connected to Melisandre. And remember, Melisandre said she
so is Jon Snow.
has to come back. Yeah, right. But she has a part to play here. She says she's going to come back one more time. She says she's going to die. So I think she's going to have something to do in this battle coming up later on, somewhere, some way, because the White Walkers worship a deity that is the counter to the Lord of Light. So that could come into play as this goes forward as well. So there's a lot.
Does anybody in here believe that Bran is the Night King?
No, but it's a Harry Potter thing where he has the scar of the Night King. That's why it's connected.
Snape. It's
I'm
the
just
speaking
curious
of the
because
person.
that's been one of the biggest theories out there, and I'm not of that belief.
No.
So I was just wondering if any of you guys
No,
could.
but he's in. Rook and I were kind of kidding about this morning. He says he's not Bran Stark anymore. He's got a little Bran Stark in him.
He does,
I'm
or else
sure.
he wouldn't have made that dig at Jamie at the trial. He's like, hey, things we do for love.
Yeah.
Right.
I love when he always
he's
tells
so
people I'm not
frustrating.
Brandon Stark, and they're all like, you aren't?
I just want to know who the fuck is pushing that kid everywhere because
Yes.
he shows up in the most interesting. Like, are you teleporting? What are you
And
doing?
also, it's snow and mud on a wooden
On a
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Like, it's pretty tough.
How the hell are you getting to these places?
It's not like
Force.
a huge rubber-tired wheelchair with like a off-roading capability.
Yeah, right.
It's
I get that you're the three-eyed raven, but goddamn it, how are you getting these places?
It was also really interesting when Jamie asks him, "Why didn't you tell anybody?" And he said, "Because
They would have killed you.
You're right,
Yeah,
but
I need
but
you.
why didn't he tell anybody originally?
He did.
'Cause
Well, he was
he
in
forgot.
the coma for like so
Right.
long.
He didn't know.
Right, and some
right,
because
right,
some of them
right,
we just said
right.
some of them knew or assumed that Jamie had done it. But
Right.
most of those people are dead.
Yeah,
Totally.
And by
Okay.
the time he was able to tell, everyone was gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I guess it does make sense, but also I would tell everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Does anybody have this sneaking suspicion that we're going to get the dragon on dragon, like blue flame versus red flame, going at each other like Voldemort, Harry Potter,
Yeah,
and then that's how they
totally.
explode the dragon?
Yeah.
Or do you think
Two
we're
of them.
gonna
What
get,
about 2 against 1?
Yeah,
Which would be
or do you think we're going to get like the one is kind of attacking, the other one just like bites his neck off and rips it off? That's like
I think that the 2 of them will attack the one, the evil one, and then evil one will take out one, and then the other one will take
Is
out.
Drogon gonna live or is Drogon gonna die?
I
I think Drogon lives.
Okay.
I think that there's going to be one more dragon left to take on the Seven Kingdoms.
Someone said in the comments, really interesting, that Dany might die at the hands of her dragons. Ooh. Wouldn't that be an interesting twist? And
Because-
Because they're Jon's dragons.
Because Jon has the more rightful claim to the throne
Yeah, it
and his
seems like way
connection
too
to the
cerebral.
but it's
No,
possible.
I
Look at
it's a
last
cool
episode.
thought. It's a
She
cool
gave
theory.
birth.
I
Yeah,
would
the way
say-
they looked at them
Basically,
kissing.
Yeah,
Remember they
the
did a
last episode,
close-up?
they're
Yeah.
looking, setting something
Yeah,
up.
Drogon was like, "Rrr."
I would say there is legitimately 0% chance that Jon ends up on the throne.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna,
would. I
I'm
would
not
put
gonna
it
go
at
0.
I would put it
wouldn't
at
say
0.
But
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's high because I
Yeah.
think if he goes out, it's going to be noble. You can't have him go out like a bitch. You just can't
Here's the thing.
I don't think he's gonna die, but I do not think he ends up on the
because
throne.
he might not want to be on the throne.
I think he has no interest
Yeah,
in
I don't
living
think he
that life,
does.
and I also think I'm sure the comments are so stoked with how many times I've said female in this conversation, but I do think that this show has set up for if there's going to be somebody on the throne, it's going to be a woman.
I don't think
I said
anyone's
it
going to be
on
on the throne.
I said it a couple weeks on hypothetical questions. There's going to be multiple queens running a democracy of the Seven Kingdoms. It's going to be Dany on the Iron Throne if she wants a throne, or it's just going to be Yara in the Iron Islands, Sansa in the North. What's her name in Bear Island? Like there's going to be a
Lyanna
multiple of a
Mormont.
democracy of queens
Yeah.
and or kings all together doing something that no other kingdom has done because people wanted the throne, and throne has
Right.
caused all the war.
I
In
think
your
the throne
version, is Jon alive?
Jon is alive.
I think the throne is gone. I think the entire I think it's burnt up, destroyed, all that too. And then because of the conversation that Dany had with Sansa, to where no one's ever going to be on the same page. But as you're saying, to where she turns and she's just like, well, what about the North?
Yeah.
And then the hand goes off. That conversation is going to keep happening again
Totally.
and again and again. So because of that, there's just going to be a ruler in the North. Basically, what Makuga just said. But I think there is going to be no throne.
But is
by the end of
Dany
this thing.
ever going to be okay with that? That there's a ruler
she's
in the
dead.
North? Oh, you think she dies?
She's dead.
Oh, yeah.
So of our big players, who ends up dead? Who is alive?
I'm going to tell you. I think Sansa survives.
Yeah.
So go through the Starks. Arya.
Arya might go.
Guys, Arya.
I think she had sex. She might die.
She might go.
That's what happens when you have sex kids.
Sansa-
Well, that's the Scream thing, isn't
Because
it?
everyone thought that Arya would be the one that survives and Sansa would be the one that
If
goes
you
back
have
in
to
the
kill
day.
Bran to kill the Night King,
Bran's gonna.
Arya will do
Brands,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bran
Yeah.
will die and Arya will do that.
Yeah.
Arya will kill Bran,
Kill Bran,
or
yeah.
Arya,
To kill the
so
Night King.
Arya will live. So
I
you
think
think
Arya will
Bran?
live.
You think Bran's gonna die and Arya and Sansa are gonna live?
Yes.
I feel like Arya and Sansa will both live, and Jon Snow, for that
And
matter.
Jon.
They're not gonna
Yeah, I
kill
think
all
Jon will
three.
live.
Yeah.
Snow.
You guys all think Jon will end up alive?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
You have to have the balance. He is the balance.
I would
Him
like
and
him.
Brienne of the nobility.
He's my favorite character. I would like him. I would like him to stick around the whole way through. I think because Benioff and Weiss are leading it now, I think he lives. I think that if George R. R. Martin was still running it, he would have been dead 2 seasons ago.
Cersei, alive or dead?
Gone.
Everybody dead?
Yeah.
Jamie?
Jamie
you guys
dead.
all
He's
think
dead,
dead?
yeah.
Jamie dead.
Tyrion?
Tyrion
Alive.
lives.
Alive.
Tyrion lives.
I think he makes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyrion lives.
Sir Davos.
Yeah, Sir Davos or Sir Jorah. Jorah dies, right?
Jorah
I
dies.
think that
Yeah,
they,
Jorah
I
does.
think they both die.
Yeah.
I think they both.
die.
Yeah.
I don't want Davos. I love
Me-
They
that.
me
gave him that
too.
moment with the little girl too. The
Yeah.
kind
I know.
of,
I
loved it.
love that
Baratheon's
moment
daughter.
so
Yeah,
much when she
yeah.
walks up and she's just like, "Where am I supposed to go?" And he looks. He goes,
Where do you want to
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
And then I love that. Then Sam's lady comes
Gilly.
over
Yeah.
and she says to her, she's just like, well, we need someone to protect you.
Yeah.
We would protect us.
from the crypt.
So get down there. And I was just like, that was such a cool moment because it's
So cool.
consistent to what Davos was been doing the whole entire series. So, but yeah,
He's not a fighter.
I think
Sam, live or die.
He's alive.
I think he's alive.
Sam has to live to tell the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gilly?
He could die.
Gilly's alive.
Gilly, I think they all survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids survive.
Gilly's a goner.
Everybody
so?
thinks
Gilly's
that
a goner.
everybody thinks that the White Walkers are going to lift the spirits in the crypt, and all those people are going to come to life and kill everybody in the crypt. Which I hate that idea. I hate that storyline.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah, and that won't happen.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, well, and then
Classic incest over here.
Theon's
Incest.
gone.
Theon's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Theon's
What about
I
his
mean,
sister?
I think she makes it.
Yeah.
Yara lives.
She helps.
Yeah.
She helps defend. She helps and brings
She'll
the
kill
fleet.
Euron.
She's got to kill her
From-
own.
she's
She's got to kill her own.
She's got to
Yeah.
kill Euron.
Yeah,
Or sleep
Yeah.
with him. I don't know. Back then.
Who knows? Everybody was
And
banging their hands.
are you guys under the theories that anybody comes back? There's a long theory about how Ned's coming back. So do
What's
you
that?
guys-
Really?
No, fuck no.
I'm not saying this
Kinda
is
take
this is
As
an
a Force
incest
ghost. As a
situation.
Force
I'm
ghost,
saying
maybe.
this is
Sure,
out there.
yeah.
I'm not.
You mean Ned like
Sure,
coming back
sure.
as like a White Walker?
There's just
Yeah,
theories
and
about
Catelyn.
him. Yeah.
Oh, and Cat, yeah.
So the one thing that one of my I forget where it was. Like I wanted to reach through the computer, but it was like so people are saying that Littlefinger's not actually dead and he sits on the
saw
Iron
that.
Throne. I was like, there was
No.
no
Well, they're
way
saying
ever that they
they're
would
saying,
do that.
They're
The
saying that
fans-
he figured out how to do the man with no face type thing, and it's like no, that
There
whole
was a
So
fan
nobody's
idea.
coming back. You don't think anybody who we believe is dead is coming back?
I don't. I think that becomes that stupid Flash thing where everybody can come back and there's
So
all these
no.
timelines.
Mark,
No,
any chance?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think
it's a fan show.
Yeah.
They want to service the fans.
Do you think the man with no
I'm
face
just
is
being
coming
the
back?
voice.
I don't think there's enough time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough
Do you think he'll
time.
show up on the battlefield with Arya? To help Arya?
Possibly. He lives in Arya
I'd
so
love
much
that,
at this
though.
point that I feel like he's still relevant enough that he could.
I think he'll show up in a moment to give, and she'll know it's him.
Yeah.
And they'll have a moment.
What if Arya becomes? She puts on the face of the Night King.
But anyway,
Well, I was thinking, what if Arya? I was thinking, what if Arya puts on the face of Bran, and she goes out there instead of Bran?
or
I like that.
Not bad.
That's very good,
or
Roxy.
it's on the same wavelength there is that she puts on the face of Tyrion or doing kill. She's done that before though.
Yeah,
I mean,
she-
she did it for after.
But you
to
have
the Red
Jaime
Wedding.
dead.
Or
You have to be
Jamie,
dead.
and
Or
that's how
Jaime.
he kills Cersei.
Right,
That's how she kills
because it's
Cersei
actually Arya.
as Jamie.
Because it's like the prophecy
I like
says.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah, the prophecy says
And then we
that
keep
it's
the
about a-
actor around for another
Yes.
episode.
Right.
Do you know how cool it would
Yeah.
be to be
Get
in the
that
pitch
money.
room when they were writing these scripts?
Yeah.
easily.
It would be like
Yeah.
I wanna be
It's
a
probably
fly
just
on the
like
wall.
this. They're all just like,
I would be so. I
Except
would be
a lot
so
better.
annoying though. Like they've got to be chiller. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, listen. So
Incest.
That's
Incest.
the
No,
breakdown.
incest?
That is the breakdown of last night's episode. We'll do this. We'll do this every Monday, man, until the series
I have an
is over.
idea for a game next week with Game of Thrones. I want to
What do
play
you
with
got?
you guys. It's called Are You Paying Attention? And I'm going to pick
Ooh.
out little details in the episode and see if you guys remember them.
like that.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Research the song. That Jenny song
Yeah.
ties back to John and the Prince that was promised theory and prophecy. So go all the way back. Goes all the way back
back.
to the Children of Men.
The one that Sam
So
sings?
I mean the Children of the Forest.
I mean, that's Sam,
Yeah, the first man and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that
Godric-
Podrick sings.
Podrick
sings. Yeah, that's an important thing.
Yeah.
His voice was beautiful.
Cody,
Yes, it
Cody,
was.
would you be mad at me if I said we can go to break, or are you not ready for it?
Give me 15 seconds.
I can
Hold
switch
on,
out.
Hold on.
But yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Roxy needs to go, and I need to go too.
Fuck it, let's go.
All right,
I'm
all right.
fine.
We're gonna go to a break. When we get back, we're gonna talk to Roxy about some things that she did,
Whatever.
and then
Yeah.
we'll also take some phone calls from you guys, Facebook questions, and all that kind of shit too. So when we get back.
I'm so mad he went to break, you guys. You have no idea.
Hey, Collider fans, John Roca here. Look that behind me. There it is. Collider Sports. That's right. That is happening. We've got some great programming on there already. For those of you that have already watched, thanks so much. We got so much coming down the pike. We're talking about NFL. We're going to talk about NBA. There's plans about NHL. Golf is in the equation now. And, of course, the Premier League show that I host with Jack Hind, that's been in motion for the last couple of weeks. And then an MMA show is on the way from Dennis Zhang, me, and Jay Williams. All those things are happening here at Collider. And look, We want to hear from you, so we want you to listen. We want you to watch. If you're a sports fan, even if you're not a sports fan, we might entertain you, teach you something new about a sport that you may not have known much about, or maybe so deep into it that you wanted to learn even more about it. We've got you covered. You can do that. Follow us on iTunes and on YouTube. You can there watch all the shows or listen to all the shows that you want, and then leave us comments and rate the shows as well and review them. And then let us know what other sports you want us to cover. Look, we're not touching rugby. I'll just tell you that right now. That's as far out as we'll go, or cricket. But maybe in the future, if we go Collider worldwide, that's certainly a possibility. But for right now, Collider Sports is there for you. Take a look at it, take a watch, and let us know what you think.
Oh, hi guys. It's Perry here, and I am going to tell you about The Witching Hour. It is the show that I host along with Collider.com's Reilly Finstock. It is in podcast form on the Collider Factory feed, and we also have the video up and running every Tuesday for you right there on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel. We talk about everything horror. We're talking TV, movies, the newest releases. We talk about movies that are celebrating anniversaries. We've even talked about books. It's crazy. If it is scary, we are talking about it on The Witching Hour. We also have so many filmmaker interviews, really cool stuff. It's all coming your way every single Tuesday on The Witching Hour. Check it out. Collider Factory and the Collider Podcast YouTube channel.
Hello, Collider Live. My name is Amy Dallin.
And I'm Coy Jandro, and we host a little show we love called Collider Heroes. And it is all of the things we love about movies, TV, comics themselves, all the breaking news, trailers, photos, but not paparazzi photos.
All of the superhero stuff we love, all of the indie comic stuff we love, all the stuff you had no idea was based on comics.
80 years of comic lore have led to this show, and many years in film and TV, and we're living in a golden age of comics, and we want to share all of that zeal with you folks.
So we talk about the stuff that's coming out. We talk about what we hope is coming out. We do fantasy casting of things that should exist. Why don't they exist?
And we do your Twitter questions asking directly to us what we think of certain things. And every single week, since we both actually love and read physical comics, buy in print, we have a comic pull list where our 5 biggest favorite books of the week come out, and we dive into those with you guys.
You can buy digital. I'll forgive you. As long as you're paying for your comics. It's all good.
But if you buy in print, you can bag them and board them, and then they're worth more later, because comics are like certain things from the 90s that are totally worth the value. Buy comics, buy in print. Digital's never worth anything later. Buy in print. Keep comic stores alive.
Or we can debate collector's items all day long. We can debate casting. We can debate movie news. We can have all of our friends come join us, as we frequently do. We can ask professionals about their work. We've had some amazing guests come by the show.
Yep. We try to
catch it every Wednesday.
That are on these properties that also love comics. You hear what it's like from their perspective, from inside, from outside, and this is all with the focus of bringing all this news to you guys. And we're here every Wednesday on Collider, and we love this stuff and want to share it with you guys.
We'll see you then.
Hey guys, Reilly here, and let me tell you about the Reilly Roundtable. That's right, they gave Reilly his own podcast. The Reilly Roundtable is on its new home. It drops every Thursday. The Reilly Roundtable is a little bit about...
Don't know what it is, but I like it. What is it, Cody?
Oh, you should know what this is, Christian. This is from the classic video game Banjo-Kazooie.
No idea what that is.
Come on.
What was that? Nintendo 64?
Yes, it was, Tom.
There you go. See?
Welcome back, Cody. Welcome back, everybody. So, Game of Thrones talk out of the way, and we also had, like I said before, Joseph Berlinger was in talking about his film. It was really nice to have him, and it was a stacked show, as Roxy had said beforehand. And we have a special guest joining us today. He is the creator of Little Bobby and the Juice. He is the manager of Who's the Boss in the movie trivia Schmoedown. He is Tom Dagnino. Hello, Tom.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Listen, there's something said before we get into all this stuff with what happened in Chicago. That Roxy had pitched a show of you and your lady Erica, and do we remember that whole video that was going on about the people throwing cheese at each other?
Yeah, the cat thing. I do that to my cat every day.
Well, yeah, but she's saying
I throw meat
Erica,
in his face though. He hates it.
He doesn't like the meat.
No.
But what if Erica was running around throwing meat at you?
Viral.
I mean, well,
you don't get angry though.
No. I got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't really think that she can get to me like that. Like there's nothing she can do to get me.
Legitimately, what we all said.
That's what we all said.
There's nothing she
Roxy
can do.
didn't agree
And I
with
think
it.
she really knows that.
Roxy said she's seen you get angry before.
The good show is me getting her pissed off. She's
That's what
a
I
crazy
said.
person.
Yeah.
Like she's absolutely
a crazy person. Yeah.
She's an angel.
Inside the house, she's a complete lunatic.
Like why?
I mean, it's just her temper is crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's literally the most even-keeled, good, not crazy person
Yeah,
ever.
well, looks can be deceiving. That's obviously the truth.
Do we need to get her on the show? You guys can talk about this on the air.
Oh, that'd be gold.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I mean, if she really wants to come on.
Does she? Does she?
No. If she really wants, she gets a little timid outside of the house. But inside the house, she's an animal.
I think we need that.
Oh my God! You bring
Roxy,
it here.
we need that. So you can.
I'll have her on any day.
Yeah, because I figured me and you'd be able to ask all the questions.
It would be unbelievable. Slap happy
McCookie's got
over
something?
here.
No, I got nothing.
Oh, okay.
I'm just enjoying this. Yeah.
Oh, I was just wondering. Have you guys seen the Indiegogo I'm doing? Because it relates to this.
Tell me about your Indiegogo, then we're gonna move on.
Isn't it surprising that he wants to talk about himself before we get into what's
saying.
actually happening?
We'll get into it all.
No,
I'm shocked. I'm
know.
surprised.
The tiers are pretty amazing.
What are
you could actually
This
see
is for Little Bobby
one
and the
guy has been a character. He paid to be a character on the show.
Okay, and you're right around him.
Yes,
you'll write his character.
Yes, but he gets to we get to print out a 3D picture of his face. It's almost like the Schnepp doll.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you get to be a real legitimate character in this show. I don't know what the guy looks like yet.
Yeah,
but I have a feeling it's going to be pretty amazing.
Okay, cool. And that's available. That tier is available on the Indiegogo.
Yes, there's a lot of tiers on there, and you guys should check it out.
How do they
it's
find
pretty
that?
amazing.
Where do they go?
Through my Twitter or Little Bobby and the Juice Twitters and YouTube channels and things like that. They'll find it, and then there's a link to it. It is incredible.
Okay, good. Listen, here's the thing. So unlike right now, there was something that you did on the Schmoedown Rundown this weekend that I've never seen you do. You made sense. You were there.
I'm a sense maker now.
No, usually you talk just pure nonsense, and I was expecting that with your interview, and I listened to your interview with Brad Gilmore and Frank Janisch, and I listened to it, and I was hearing a lot of what you were saying, and I was shocked that I did. So for those who did not know what happened at the event in Chicago, it was a really good match between Who's the Boss, Mark Reilly and Ben Bateman, and they played up against Roxy Streyer's team of Mark Andreyko and Jeff Snyder, and it was a battle.
The Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple. It was a battle. It was a really good match. The crowd was energized. It was to the wire. It was the first round. Mark Andreyko was on fire. He hit perfect round, and then
And one.
What's that?
Perfect round and one.
And one. And then Ben Bateman comes in and Reilly, they hit the movie release dates for Spinner's Choice. They get every single one.
Shocked.
It was really, really a...
How'd they do that?
Listen.
What are you insinuating here?
We'll get to you in a second. So, and then the match kept going at that pace because then Kate Blanchett comes on the roll. The Odd Couple kill it, and then the final round comes in. The 2-pointer, Mark Reilly hits it. Odd Couple hits their 2-pointer, and then Who's the Boss misses both their 3 and their 5 and lose the game. So because of that, they play the Shire rules now. The Odd Couple does, and I was watching from the side. And so they gear up to where Snyder and Andreyko have been saying they've had a problem with Ben. They've had a problem with Ben, and they just don't believe that Ben has turned this new leaf. So they went up, they go to shake his hand, and takes off. Snyder does. And Draco does the same thing. Roxy seems to say that's not a sportsmanlike thing. She calls after them. Ben extends his hand to Roxy, and Roxy then assaults.
Turns into Slap Happy McGee.
Slaps Ben Bateman.
I wouldn't call it assault.
Thank you. I agree. It's a
All
little
right.
It was battery. It was battery.
All right, a slap.
Battery? Okay.
All right, I'm giving
Thanks,
Roxy. I'm going to
Josh.
give Roxy a chance to defend herself here, but she slaps Ben. Okay, and then we see in the post interview that Jen asked you why you did it, and you can explain yourself.
She didn't even ask me why I did it. What was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
To which you said,
What was what, Jen?
we won.
What was what?
Right.
Because I honestly, at that point, I'm hanging out with my boys downstairs, and we're having the best time, like over and done.
Gloating.
Yeah. So she comes down. What was that? What kind of energy is that to bring? We just actually annihilated them. It was awesome. What was
Wait
what?
a minute here. Okay, look. Here's the deal. You know,
What was
we
that?
don't pride ourselves on telling the truth all the time, but we do pride ourselves on being able to handle it. Okay, you guys won. That was fair and square.
Thank you.
But the way you treated us afterwards was just not right. and Snyder is like hooting and hollering. I get.
Let's
but
go
why-
back to
Look,
Christian.
Snyder,
Yeah,
Snyder
I wanna
doesn't
your
like
turn to
debating.
talk.
I
want to
get
ask,
that.
I want to
Neither
ask
does
for
Andrew
Roxy,
Go.
Not your
but
turn.
again, because of the history, obviously we know with you and Ben. But why the need to do that in front of 1,000 people?
You know, I think that it's a couple of different things. People have been listening to the show. Obviously, if you're listening right now, you're probably a fan of the show, and I think you know exactly why. It's not a secret. All of the things that I've been put through, and I know that people laugh about it sometimes. We've talked about the not having sex, the late nights, quizzing him all of the time, like tirelessly, waking me up in the morning to make sure that I can quiz him. And I think that if you were living that every single day for years, and then ultimately it ended up eating away at your relationship and your life and your own career, and you've been listening to this show for the past, I don't know, a year, Christian.
You're saying it was building up.
Why were people so surprised by it? That's what surprised
all right,
me, that they were so surprised.
So I kept getting tweets. I kept getting questions. I got phone calls from managers. I got questions from teammates about, well, what is going to be done? Because Andrew Guy, who clearly has a record of doing some stuff to John Roca, he's doing something to Ben Bateman at Spectacular, and there was consequences for him. So the question is, will there be consequences for you for doing what you did? And so here's my decision. Mark Reilly and Jeff Snyder will be playing a match coming up pretty soon, and you will be banned from that match. You will not be allowed to come to that match. But there's something else as well. If Mark Reilly wins that match, you will also be banned from the title match. You will not be allowed to manage that match. So it's essentially 2 games. However, if Jeff Snyder wins, it'll be 1 game, which will turn from a 1 month to it'll be a 1 month suspension if Snyder wins. If not, it'll be a 2-month suspension. There will also be a no tolerance policy in general. Little things, both commissioners, Levine and Emma, will be on high alert now on things like this, on little things. Everybody's going to be kept more in line now. If there have to be fines, there'll be fines.
Lame.
Little things will happen. There will be suspensions around the board if people keep doing what they're doing. It's a trivia contest, and it should be keep personal stuff out of it. So that is my decision. You're allowed to say any retort that you would like.
You know, I think that that's okay, because going into this, like you said, with Andrew Guy, I looked at that situation. I knew what happened to him, and I'm a smart girl. I knew that there was a possibility, and I chose to do that anyway. And I am willing to take responsibility for my actions, but I'll sit here across the table from you right now, Christian, and let you know that I would not do one thing differently. So even if this is the decision you've made, which I respect, it's your league, you created this, it's your choice, I knew that this was on the line, and I decided to do that anyway. So if you want to make that choice, that's fine. I know it's going to ultimately end up being 1 game because I have all the belief in the world in Snyder, and he can do it. The biggest problem with Odd Couple is their communication together, and when it's just Snyder out there, I'm sorry, Reilly, but he's going to be able to take you down, and I know that I'll be able to be there for the ultimate match that we need to get to. So I'm okay with your decision, and I really wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like she's reformed. Usually when you're punished for something, you have to give penance, or penance, whatever it is. From
Good job with
Jesus
that
stuff.
vocab.
Yeah.
Do you have any words
But
you'd
anyway,
like to say to
that
them?
being said, so you're basically she's saying she's not sorry for it. Is what she's saying here.
Yeah, she wouldn't change a thing.
Well, I want
So
to hear, Roxy, you have any words you want to say to them before we
Honestly, I
move
don't
on?
have that much that I want to say to Tom. I think
Okay.
he's a joke. He tries to make everything about himself. I don't even want to give him more airtime right now, because if you watch him on stage, it's not about Mark and it's not about Ben. It's not about his team. He wants to
Don't
be
let it get
out
into your
there,
head.
and he wants to be the one who's the center of attention. If you notice, when I'm with the Odd Couple, I try to hang back in the wings as much as I can because I want the light to be shown on them, which is why I was so pissed when Jen came out. What was that?
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about them.
Wait a minute. So what? So the slap
Okay,
in front of
we're done with
1,000
you.
people wasn't
Done with
about
you.
you. That was about you.
No, that wasn't about me. That was about the countless hours that it was about him and what he's done, not about me. And he deserved that, and that's why he got it. Mark, with you,
Depriving you.
Let Roxy
it's
finish.
different because it's not the same as Tom, who wants all the attention on him, but I'm really disappointed in you, honestly. And I think that you've just backed the wrong horse here. I'm sorry, you used to be a champion, and now at this point, it's a little bit of a joke. I'm not worried about Snyder taking you down. For this show, for the purposes of this show, I love talking Game of Thrones with you. I like talking Star Wars with you. I can be civil and be your friend here, but outside of here, it's game on, because
Good. I want you to have it game on because I'm going to make it very clear, and I'm going to make it my mission that you're going to be gone for 2 matches.
Yes.
That guy, guess who carried that entire match? And Draco.
Yep.
Snyder was so-so.
He was doing his
He
little
doesn't
gimmick.
scare
And
he doesn't
who
scare me.
carries your team? Ben. And why? Because I quizzed him every single night of our lives. So
Yeah, you weren't in those huddles. And what I'll
the
say
one
back
that
to you.
Finstock was trying to just
He
get
was in
his
there, too.
airtime for.
No.
Yeah, I know he was
You
there.
weren't in
Trust me,
those
he made it
huddles
very
for that
clear.
12-point second round. So you don't have to say anything about that. Okay? I actually take offense to you even coming at me with that kind of talk when you know exactly what I've done for this league.
Yeah, you're.
It's
You
a two-time
did. You
champ.
did. You were-
okay?
you
I've
were a
seen
champ.
Snyder fold under 70s movies. I've seen Snyder fold when there's superhero movies that are asked. I've seen Snyder fold. God forbid there's a Star Wars question that doesn't have reference to one of the most legendary Bespin answers. I thought we had some kind of advantage there. No, they knew that Star Wars question because of the league and the history of Roca.
Because they're smart players.
I'm not
Because
saying
they're
they're
smart
not.
All right, look. So
I'm not saying they're
we
not.
can go. We can go round and around and around and around. So the set is the stage is set now. This is how it's going to run down. Mark Reilly will play Jeff Snyder, Roxy Schreier will not be allowed in the building for that match.
And that's fine.
If Mark Reilly wins that match, Roxy Schreier will also be banned from the title match between Odd Couple and Shire Wolves coming up at a later date. However, if Snyder wins, Roxy will be reinstated, but she will have a month suspension. That is my final call here. So
Thank you, Christian.
Yes, I would thank all of you guys for checking it out. And if you want to see the continuation of Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman in Houston, that is on May 18th. The Schmoedownlive.com. You can get your tickets now and check the schedule for all these other matches that are coming up on triviasd.com. I do want to move on, though, and I want to see if we can get some Twitter questions. I want to see if we can get some Facebook questions here, too. So let's do let's go, and some phone calls, too. So, Cody, when the phone lines, please open them up. And Mark, if you can cool your jets for...
Yeah, I got to cool down a bit.
Just a
so
second.
just give me a second.
Just a second.
Wildberries?
That was intense.
Yeah, and then Wild Berries is also happening. We got Wild Berries.
I'm into wild berries.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well, Makuga was. I mean, that's the thing. It's tough for both of us to watch.
Yeah.
it's-
I don't feel. I was wanted to talk about dragons.
I know. Yeah, but all right, so let's bring up the twits and the Facebook, and then we'll take some phone calls. Cody, you give me the old Boston. Yeah, when it's time.
Not right now, Derek.
All right, sorry. All right, Riley, what do you got? You got anything?
I'm still looking.
Still
dude.
looking.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool.
You throw.
I know I threw
you
it
throw
on.
it at
I know
me.
I threw it on. You know?
I got
For
a
the
little
few
bit of time.
you- For the few of you vaginas out there that are listening to this show, hashtag guy girl. If you're a guy girl, GHAI
Oh,
girl.
is that what
then
you are now?
I'm a guy girl.
A lady guy? No, lady
I'm a
guy.
guy girl.
Lady guy.
No, that didn't.
All
That
right,
didn't
good.
catch
All
on.
right,
either way.
let's get to the phone.
I'm a guy girl. I won't lie.
All right, let's get to the. You like Lady Gaga? You like Lady Gaga? Makuga likes her. All right, hey, you're
so much good.
you're on Collider Live. Who do we got?
Hey, how you doing, Saul?
Saul.
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 You've been listening to the whole show.
I have, yes.
Thoughts on what just went down?
Yeah. The one thing that jumped out at me is, hey, Roxy, is there a chance that maybe you misspoke there with the whole banging your aunt and uncle thing was okay? Is there any chance of that, or?
I didn't say it was okay. Societally, it has been. I knew this was going to be a problem. And like thou dost protest too much. Like I can't really back it.
No.
So yeah, I said it's okay.
Yeah.
Your uncle
Sure,
dated
why not?
your aunt?
No, you gotta listen to the whole show.
It's fine. Date whoever
Yeah.
you want.
All right, what else you got, Saul?
Wowzers.
Oh, I was just another thing I wanted. Shit.
What happened, Saul?
Fucking Saul.
Where'd he go?
It appears we've lost Saul.
Better call
Oh.
Saul. He sounds like he
sounded like somebody
lost his phone.
Saul's the best.
Saul's
like a,
hey, it's Saul.
All right, give me a Twitter
What did
Facebook
the
question
chicken
here,
pot?
Ron.
Yeah.
Still looking,
Still
man.
got-
There's
still
just a
looking.
lot of theories on Game of Thrones and a
Okay.
lot of theories on Schmoedown.
Okay, what are the theories?
I'm trying to find one here.
They're big. They're big tweets. They're very long.
They're very long tweets.
And there was no questions in the official Collider Live group here that we usually get.
Oh, well, Rossica usually posts that. So
Rosaka.
got thrown off. Where's that flipper hat come from, by the way? What is that?
This flipper, it's from the 1970s.
The actual. No, I know the show's from the 70s.
Yeah,
but
this was
that hat is too.
Yeah.
Is that a true thing?
Yeah, I got it at a vintage yard sale.
That's not true.
I have like 10 hats. I
Where'd
have
you really,
Titanic.
where'd you really get that?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it at a vintage yard sale for
You
sure.
can't believe a single word he says.
Since when?
Since always.
Does this hat look
I will
new?
give
Does
you
it look
this.
new?
I really like Lil Bobby and the Juice. You should stick to that.
I'm a
That's
big
it.
fan of
Stick to
Lady
that.
Will
Gaga.
you be
to be
returning
honest.
as a voice now that there's this beef?
Why don't you do a tier? We'll put your face on there.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
Bobby
now
will
pay.
slap
I'm
it.
gonna pay
Not
for
pay to be on it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't have to pay to be on it. You're going to be on it.
Cody, can you help
I got
us?
a perfect role for you.
I can't, and it looks like we only have like 2 minutes left anyway.
Do we have 2 minutes left?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No way.
Yeah, we're close.
11:57.
That went fast. Well, never mind. I thought we had like a half an hour left, so thank you. Well, look, what a eventful show today was.
Well,
my lord. Lots of stuff. Now, I do want to hear if people thought that my sentence was just or not just enough. Go over to the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group.
I thought it was very lenient.
I want to see how many people from this show will join over there. Make sure that you also go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to this show on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to Collider Video. So many great shows we have here. Check out Comic Book Shopping and TV Talk and tons of other great, amazing programming that we have on the Collider Network. I'd like to thank you, and on behalf of Roxy Stryer, Tom Dagnino, Josh McCouga, Mark Reilly,
And Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Hashtag
Cody,
Guy Girl.
Cody Hall, and everybody else, John Rocco. We will see you tomorrow.